This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny, 29 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. FIVEaAextra.com.
At least one person is dead and more than 2 million homes in Japan have been left without power after the country was hit by a powerful earthquake. It clocked in at 7.3. It struck near the site of another tremor 11 years ago, which sparked the Fukushima nuclear disaster. There's also been a 6.4 earthquake and tsunami warnings. The would-be Treasurer will be front and centre in the state election campaign today. Labor's Stephen Mulligan will unveil their financial blueprint for the next 4 years should they win this Saturday.
I'd say Labor will be releasing our election policy costings. Unlike the government, Labor's election costings have been independently assessed and show that the Liberal scare campaign about Labor's spending is completely debunked.
The Libs released their election policy costings at the start of the week, and Labor leader Peter Malinauskas will be in the studio with David and Will later this morning. FIVEaa staff are taking strike action today in protest of better working conditions. The Education Union argues TAFE reneged on rollover terms and conditions from the 2016 Enterprise Agreement. A rally will be held at Parliament House from 12:30. Cricket great Rod Marsh will be farewelled at a funeral service in Adelaide today. Michaela Kamarik has more.
Family, friends and teammates of the former Test wicketkeeper will gather at Adelaide Oval to pay their respects. A private service will be held in the Magarey Room from 11:30 this morning. The public can watch the service from the southern stands at Adelaide Oval on the big screen or online. In lieu of flowers, the Marsh family is asking mourners to donate to a Diabetes SA Memorial Fund. 74-year-old Marsh died in the Royal Adelaide earlier this month after suffering a major heart attack. WA has offered his family a state funeral.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has admitted sanctions are hurting Russia's economy. Europe correspondent Brett McLeod reports.
Speaking at the Kremlin, the Russian president claimed what he calls the special operation has been a success, even as his forces show little sign of progress beyond bombing civilians. He said that the conflict had merely been a pretext for the West to impose sanctions, which admitted for the first time are hurting Russia's economy. Meantime, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Ukraine's neutral status was being seriously discussed as a condition of ceasefire. The deal would allow Ukraine to keep an army, but ruled out joining NATO. Ukraine negotiators responded by saying any peace deal would need agreement by the West that they would come to Ukraine's aid in the event of any future conflict.
Choice is joining consumer groups overseas in calling for increased regulation of buy now, pay later schemes. They want stronger laws to cap fees and charges, limited unsolicited marketing, and to ensure loan providers have helped people in financial strife. Chief Executive Alan Kirkland says the services can leave customers worse off.
Lenders aren't required to check whether you can afford to repay a debt before they lend you money, and it also means that if something goes wrong down the track, if you're in financial hardship, they don't have to allow you to complain to an independent ombudsman. So you've got very few rights.
Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
It's St Patrick's Day, so it's good morning to my little leprechaun, Tom Wren.
Oh, it's nice to be here, thank you.
To be sure.
Let's start with footy, Mel. Christian Petrarca has dominated for Melbourne with 38 touches and a couple of goals to guide the reigning premiers to a 26-point win over the Bulldogs in last night's AFL Grand Final rematch. Christian Salem left the field with a knee injury. Demons coach Simon Goodwin says he'll have scans today.
We're pretty hopeful it won't be too bad, so we'll just wait and see on that. So we're hopeful that it's not the worst possible news, and it might be a few weeks, but it's in first indications it's not looking too bad.
Just over 58,000 people were at the MCG for the match. Well, Port Adelaide's players will hit the track today ahead of Saturday night's match against Brisbane at the Gabba. And the Crows have confirmed they'll have 3 players make their club debuts for the match against Fremantle on Sunday, with Jordan Dawson set to play after crossing from Sydney, while draftees Josh Rochelle and Jake Saligo will make their respective debuts. To cricket, and Australia has failed to win the second test against Pakistan in Karachi, thanks to a strong batting performance from the home side on the final 2 days. They finished at 7 for 443 on the final day, with captain Babar Azam top scoring with 196, while Mohammad Rizwan was unbeaten on 104. To soccer, Adelaide United's winning streaks come to an end after a 2-1 defeat at home against the Western Sydney Wanderers. Meantime, Champions League action will start again in the next half hour, with Chelsea away against Lille, while Juventus comes up against Villarreal. And Alex de Minaur has just lost the second set in his round of 16 match against American Taylor Fritz at the Indian Wells Masters, meaning that match is heading to a deciding third set. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast, and mostly sunny 29 today, cloud clearing tomorrow 29, Saturday mostly sunny and 32. Right now it's 18 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
I'm on the top of the world.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. FIVEaa Breakfast.
I can find is the love that I've found ever since you've been around. Your love's put me at the top.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on FIVEaa Breakfast. It's dark outside. We're entering that weird part of the year where we there's the last dregs of summer as we enter autumn, where it's dark in the morning but still quite warm. There's some pleasant weather on the way. We'll talk about that with the Weather Bureau in about 40 minutes' time. Also coming up on the program this morning, another $100 worth of free fuel coming your way, hopefully yours, someone's way, with Tanks Dave and Will. We're going to play it after 7 o'clock today. We're off to the US before 7. We'll be flashing back with Michael Smith after 6:30 today. And then it's a bumper program. Matt Abraham will join us for the last time before polling day on Saturday. And for the first time in 2022, the dude, Tom Duday, will be on the program. Three Crows set to debut on the weekend. We'll talk to him about that.
Dude.
We're looking forward to the dude. That's going to be excellent after 8 o'clock today. And we're going to talk a little bit about Elvis. This this Australian first Graceland exhibition that's on in Bendigo starts on the weekend. It's here for 3 months. This is the Ridgy Didge Memphis Graceland US exhibition of Elvis's life. It's come to Australia. It's as I say, starting this weekend with all the person we're going to be speaking to, Angie Marchese, has been doing this for over 30 years in Memphis, Tennessee, just curating the life of Elvis and all this wonderful stuff that they've got on display. So this is a boon for Elvis fans right around the country who'll be making the pilgrimage to Bendigo, I expect, from this weekend for the next 3 months. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, folks. The King. I'm looking forward to that. I didn't grow up in a very Elvis household. My mum and dad never got the Elvis thing.
Oh, really? My mother, swoons over Elvis. We had the music.
I regret it. I wish I did, because I reckon he's sensational.
We had the music, the movies. Every time an Elvis movie in the middle of the day was on, I remember as a kid when I was home, it would be on. She loved Elvis.
Yeah, see, I got all the excellent jazz from Dad. Like I can remember as a kid dancing around to Blue Rondo a la Turk and Take 5 by the Dave Brubeck Quartet, and I've inherited a lot of Dad's old Oscar Peterson records, so I got the jazz stuff. Mum's always really been massive into classical. Like every time I ring her, it sounds like Luciano Pavarotti's in the living room. Like seriously, I rang her yesterday, and she answers the phone, like, "What?" And she said, "I'll have to turn that down. That's the Messiah." And I said, "I didn't know the Messiah had popped in to see you at Clapham." She said, "No, Handel wrote it. It's an opera."
Oh.
But
literally as a kid,
no Elvis.
I thought,
no Elvis.
I thought Elvis, for me, as growing up, Elvis was an actor who did musical films. I
don't really rate his films.
No, but they're a time capsule.
They're vehicles for songs.
Absolutely, they have a place. They're a genre all of their own.
Yeah, they are. They're almost like, I don't know, like a bit like a movie version of like the Monkees TV show, where it's all about create the plot around the songs
and fiddle some songs through.
The thing that really changed it was a mate of mine in Sydney was a massive Elvis fan, and I was going, "Oh, Elvis, whatever." He said, "Mate, listen to this," and he made me listen to Elvis live in Hawaii, and I just went, "Wow, this is like actually one of the coolest live recordings ever."
Yeah,
and it's real late model Elvis, where he's, sweating like a sweaty thing, wearing the rhinestones, but just absolutely going berserk on stage. You think, my God, like imagine being at this show. Like it was just awesome.
Yeah, and he had the different stages of the career. His music sort of spanned genres and was stylistically different.
The thing that's cool about him too is I watched this really fascinating documentary about the disgraced video vicar, televangelist Jerry Falwell a few weeks ago, and I was thinking, there's something Elvis's sort of stage presence that really reflects that awesome sort of Southern Baptist thing of, preachers running around the stage.
Completely.
And so much of that stems from black culture. Like, it's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, well, which was one of the early criticisms of him, wasn't it? Who's this guy with this that sounds like an African-American?
It's funny, though, how people behave, because it's only a short stroll from Hunker Hunker Burn and Love to being zapped on the head by the light of the Holy Spirit at some evangelical church in Golden Grove. Like, it's actually...
Well, he says that's part of his inspiration.
Yeah, it's incredible,
that's what he grew up seeing, so that was showmanship.
Yeah.
Yet somehow translated into the world of popular music. Just fantastic. Looking forward to that chat after 8:30 today. You'll like this one, David. I'll throw this to you. This is squarely in your wheelhouse. Matt on the Facebook live stream says, looks like the Tigers has picked its favourite for the election 2 days in a row. Great run for Labor. This is just the reality of what happens when the coverage crystallises around a clear favourite, isn't it?
Absolutely. And look, we got a text a few weeks ago. Somebody said, and if you're listening, thanks for the text. I should have read it out at the time, but we can't always get to them. But someone said, 2 weeks in a row I see Penberthy, and he said, wife of ex-Labor MP Kate Ellis has written 2 very favourable articles about Peter Malinowska. And it's like, well, okay, you're entitled to that view. What I would say in response is, on the Friday, when my mates at the Australian ring up and go, hey, Pembo, we've got the news poll results. It shows Labor's leading by 6 points, and in an almost historic first, only ever happened once, the opposition leader is 7 points more popular than the Premier. And I go, what? So I ring the news poll guy, and he goes, that's what it says.
Yeah.
And we've triple-checked it. So what's the intro for that story? Is the intro a clearly shattered Peter Malinauskas is grappling with the horror revelation that he is vastly more popular than a Premier who was only elected 4 years ago? And, okay, so K.O. O'Malley is today's front page. Well, I watched that debate, and I was watching it, and I was thinking, so I'm right on deadline. 5:30 the debate finishes. 6 p.m. the results are going to be through. And I'm thinking, well, how the 100 undecided voters in the audience vote is pivotal to how I write this story. So I'm sitting there writing it. They needed the copy by like 6, so the moment the results came through. And having watched the debate, I thought, well, I'm just going to write one version where overwhelmingly the crowd thinks Peter Malinauskas did better than Stephen Marshall, because watching it at home on the couch, that was, without equivocation, it was the conclusion I drew too, because Malley was having a real crack. Stephen Marshall just looked like he was lapsing into a coma at some points during that debate. He looked like almost exhausted. Malinauskas was bobbing around on his feet, interacting much more with the people asking the questions. And Stephen Marshall had a look of a bloke who's actually starting to realise now that he's in deep, deep strife.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of the papers picking winners. It's a case of, what are you meant to say? If 67 of the 100 people in the crowd say Malinauskas won and 22 say the Premier did, what's the intro for that story?
This is exactly it. This is not. You're not being asked to interpret anything here. It's not like who had the better day yesterday. There's data points around which a lot of the reporting is based, like news poll, like what audience responded to a debate. Now, they're not the be-all and end-all, but if you're covering that bit of data, it's not open to interpretation. Like, no one's going to criticise the paper, the Herald Sun, this morning for being biased towards Melbourne. They won the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that was the score.
But
they might not win the premiership, but you're reporting on that one bit of data that you got.
To the point of newspapers running editorials, as they always have. Fairfax has run them, News Corp's run them, and the thinking is that if particularly in a country where we've got compulsory voting, and everybody has to make a decision as to who they support or not, newspapers being part of the community go, well, we're going to be part of that too, and you can take it or leave it. It's not like the newspaper's telling you how to vote, and you're perfectly free to get to the end of the editorial, screw up into a little ball, and go and clean the barbecue with it. You know, that's the way newspapers operate. But I would be. I don't think. I can't speak for the advertiser. I don't think the Australian is going to run a vote Labor editorial, and I think that the reason for that would be that the paper's assessment is always sort of stemmed from how are things travelling economically? So what's the economic argument for chucking out Stephen Marshall? Is the state a financial mess?
There isn't one. There isn't one.
So if there isn't one, what's the argument?
The argument that Peter Malinauskas was putting to South Australians is the hospital system's stuffed.
Well, yeah.
That's what. That's it. All
And
the chips are resonating.
But I mean, what about Marshall's luck though? Like, Malinauskas holds a press conference every 3 minutes about ambulance ramping.
Yeah.
This week, 3 people die waiting for ambulances. Like, utterly tragic. But the timing of it
Couldn't be worse.
And I know people. In fact, I saw a couple of people last night who were quite politically disengaged, and they said, "What about those poor people dying?" I said, "I know it's terrible." And for a lot of people,
through. Yeah.
that's just game, set, and match.
Yeah. State government service delivery, and that's the service that we don't want to have to rely on, but everyone does at some point in time. 16 after 6, news headlines are coming up in a moment. Lots of great texts as well on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. You can fire those through with your thoughts on 0480 8 1395, or if you want to have a chat, love for you to call in on 8223 0000.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. We're having a massive short sharp sale right now. Save at least 25% store-wide. Save hundreds on sofas, chairs, dining and more, including our great Australian-made brands. Blink and you'll miss it. It's the Berkowitz Short Sharp Sale. Save at least 25% on RRP. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. Mile End Homemaker Centre. Sale ends Sunday.
At Fairmont Homes, they're excited to provide you with better value than ever when it comes to quality and unbeatable value. It's always Fairmont Homes.
There's fantastic news. Build with Fairmont now. How good is this? You'll receive a luxury kitchen and bathroom upgrade plus free air conditioning. That's 3 luxury upgrades at absolutely no extra cost, but only for a limited time.
Wow. And now, for just $3,500 extra, you can also choose from higher ceilings, solar or smart stone bench tops.
For more information, just visit fairmonthomes.com.au. Fairmont Homes, built for life. T's and C's apply.
March is Epilepsy Awareness Month, Purple Month. Over 60,000 people in SA live with epilepsy today. The Epilepsy Centre in SA trains people, families, schools and workplaces on total seizures first aid for the 52 different types of epilepsy. A 2016 Flinders University study concluded that training and education significantly reduces cost to the health system. Our health does come first. Go to epilepsycentre.org.au for more information.
Have you ever wondered if retirement living would suit you? Come along to an FIVEaa open home and enjoy a sneak peek of the life you could lead. These free events are from the 29th to the 31st of March at 15 FIVEaa communities across Adelaide. You can explore the communities, walk through display homes and chat with our friendly team. Attendees must be vaccinated and all events will operate with a COVID-safe plan. Take the first step and search FIVEaa Open Home today. RSVP is essential.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
19 after 6, news headlines on this Thursday morning, the 17th of March. Noted it was dark actually earlier. And Sue in Christie's Beach has texted us. She says, I'm in the camp where daylight savings goes a month too long. It's to cater for the arty farties and rev heads and should finish on the first Sunday in March. Should not be dark at 7 a.m. until midwinter. It does feel dark out there at the moment. It's not going to be sun up till 7:17.
I don't know,
today.
Sue. Living at Christie's though, Sue, don't you like the idea of being able to wander down and watch the sunset at 8 p.m. after dinner?
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
You do win a
Such a good beach, Christie's Beach.
TAFE SA staff are taking strike action today in protest over better working conditions. The Education Union argues TAFE reneged on rollover terms and conditions from the 2016 Enterprise Agreement. A rally will be held at Parliament House from 12:30 today.
That's got union pre-election stunt written all over, hasn't it?
Yeah, it just happens to be the timing, I guess. You know, wow.
That's right.
Cricket great Rod Marsh will be laid to rest today with a funeral at Adelaide Oval. He died after suffering a heart attack 2 weeks ago. Family and friends have been invited to the service in the McGarry Room, which will also be live streamed. People are being asked to donate to Diabetes SA Memorial Fund instead of laying flowers.
Still hard to believe that he's gone, Marshy.
Ukraine's president has called on the US to provide further support as Russia invades his country. Addressing US Congress, Volodymyr Zelensky requested further sanctions from the US on Russian politicians and a no-fly zone over his nation for invading aircraft. President Zelensky broke into English to address President Joe Biden directly.
Today it's not enough to be the leader of the nation. Today it takes to be the leader of the world. Being the leader of the world means to be the leader of peace.
And in the hours following that, the US president approved $800 million worth of arms and assistance to Ukraine, including anti-aircraft systems, small arms, ammunition, drones, hundreds of drones provided to the defence of Ukraine. No jets, though, which is one of the big things that Ukraine have been asking for. And the no-fly zone is still a no-go for NATO in the West.
It's hard to sort of tease out what constitutes intervention that can be regarded by Russia as an act of war against them.
Drones carrying missiles, okay. Jets carrying missiles, no good.
Bizarre.
It's, because the line, I guess, it's just so bizarre that the whole world agrees that these are where the lines are.
Yeah.
Like even Putin, who doesn't care about what
doesn't care about anything else, but he seems to
he
follow
says,
this.
okay, well, yeah, that's not worth escalating over. It is totally bizarre.
My big question, is there a group of like smart lawyers at the Hague sitting down just taking notes and watching everything that Putin is doing? Because a day of reckoning has to come for this guy. Like
yeah,
there's a theatre of people, or like a cinema of people hiding in Mariupol. The Russians have been bombing it.
Yeah, 1,000 people were hiding in it. They bombed it.
It's just sick.
We got some great audio a little bit later of Vitaly Klitschko, the former heavyweight world champion, who's the mayor of Kyiv.
He's a unit, that bloke.
He's speaking with Chris Reason. He asks him about military targets. In your response, you're going to want to hear it. It's after 7 o'clock. His response, you're going to want to hear it. 2 million people in Japan have been left without power after the country was hit by a powerful earthquake. This is serious. 7.3 on the Richter scale. It struck near the site where the Fukushima nuclear disaster happened 11 years ago. I can't believe it was only 11 years ago.
Amazing.
Not long ago. The government's still trying to assess the extent of the damage. Some videos doing the rounds this morning that just show an unbelievable level of shaking. 7.3 is serious, and it's a part of the world that they're known to get big ones. There's a housing crisis in regional Australia as an increasing number of city dwellers chases a sea change. Infrastructure Australia has found in the first 3 months of last year there was the largest internal migration on record. It came as work from home habits became entrenched, families sought new lifestyles, and there are just entire industries now where you can say, well, I'm going to work out in the country, and you can do the job you used to come into the city to do. Then that's if you're someone who's worked in your country the whole life and you wanted to upgrade your home or you wanted to move, or suddenly you're inheriting the city's problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the flow-on effect, isn't it? We inherit Sydney's problem, and the country inherits our problem.
Yeah, yeah.
And the issue is
just keeps getting
housing
passed
stock.
around.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, let's have a look at the weather for today, because whilst it's dark right now, it's fairly warm, 17.4 degrees outside at the moment, top of 29. Got more rain yesterday than I expected.
It was great rain.
Yeah.
It rained non-stop from about 2 o'clock onwards at our place. Not bucketing down, but just nice, steady, drizzly rain.
Tomorrow, 29, cloud clearing, 32 on Saturday, 32 on Sunday as well. Then next week, Monday, 31, and a change coming in for Tuesday and a little bit more rain, maybe up to just under 500 mil. Forecast by the Bureau. 24 after 6, Tom Wren to talk footy. How about that? Footy's back right after this.
Bonus gift cards on selected tech on now at Harvey Norman. Powerful HP 15S laptop now $998 plus $100 gift card. The fully loaded Acer Nitro 5 gaming laptop now $1,998 plus $200 gift card. The Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 3 5G now $2,498 plus bonus $500 gift card. Or the TCL 20 Pro now $598 plus $100 gift card. Limited time, now at Harvey Norman.
North Point Toyota is donating a community vehicle to organisations in need. I'm here with Leah from the Ambulance Employees Association. Leah, what does the North Point community vehicle mean to you?
North Point's community vehicle means so much. The Ambos are really doing it tough. Having the opportunity to get out and visit them on the front line with a snack and a chat goes a long way.
Inquire about how North Point Toyota's community vehicle can help your organisation. Supporting our community. It's the North Point way.
Hi, can I help you?
Yes, I have a snoring problem.
Can you describe it for me, please?
Well, it's about 5'11" with curly hair and a moustache.
I see.
Introducing Mute, sleep technology that opens the nose to increase airflow by an average of 38%. So you and your partner can enjoy a good night's sleep. Mute, available now at leading pharmacies. Always follow the directions for use.
It's out now. 24 pages of it. Cheap as chips, huge 24-page home life catalogue. Page after page of ooh, wow. Ooh, that's nice. From the bedroom to the kitchen, there's something for every room in your home. Look for the Cheap as Chips huge 24-page home life catalogue out now. And remember, you'll get a $10 voucher to spend on your next job when you spend $75 or more in store. Do home life cheaper at Cheap as Chips, in store and online.
In times of loss, you need Embrace. Making funeral arrangements is never easy, but Deanne Edwards from Embrace Funerals will gently step you through every detail. Embrace truly care about delivering the perfect, personalised funeral for your loved one at an affordable cost. Embrace Funeral Services are created with exceptional care and attention to every detail, tailored perfectly to your family for peace of mind. When funerals need to be perfect, choose Embrace.
Get the latest kitchen and bathroom brands at Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies. The ABK Supplies showroom has just been updated to showcase sinkware for all budgets, including Oliveri, Abbey, Mir, Castano, BUK and classic durable fine fire clay sinks from 1901 and Turner Hastings. With finishes in polished and brushed stainless steel, brushed nickel, bronze and many other finishes. Your kitchen or laundry will be stylish and timeless. Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies, Lower North East Road, opposite Donencourt Village.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Goodbye, my friend, it's hard to die.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
28 minutes after 6, Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio. What a night it was at the MCG last night. During and after the game, book your... what do we say for you, Rennie? We say Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Where do you want to start?
Well, we'll start with the game. I thought Melbourne were brilliant. Christian Petrarca gets 3 votes last night. He's just
unbelievable.
A star, isn't he? 38 touches, 2 goals. He was brilliant. I thought the Dogs, Aaron Norton, I think he's going to be the next big key forward.
Yeah,
he was brilliant.
I think that's fair.
But Melbourne, just too many weapons in the midfield, especially with Salem going down early. I thought it was a really polished performance. But there's no doubt in my mind the story of the week is going to be about the reaction afterwards from Luke Beveridge. I understand. I'm cognizant of the fact that no one barracks for the journo, and that's fine. But the reaction from Luke Beveridge, I think, was totally uncalled for. Completely unnecessary.
He looked like a bug-eyed lunatic.
Yeah.
And we're not afraid to pop people in our own profession. Good morning, Sam McClure. I mean, we've had conversations on air about the way some of the journos have carried on like pork chops at times at Grant Stevens' Nicola Spurrier press conferences. My question, though, for Beveridge is, how would he react to a story that's actually incorrect? Because Beveridge himself, while he was going nuts... And the guy does look like one of the wires in his brain isn't quite attached properly. Like, he was just so aggro. This journo has actually got a legitimate source within the club passing on information. Now, that's a problem for Beveridge within the club, not with the journo.
And I think that's the source of a lot of his frustration. I think it's probably that, how is this information getting out there? And it's embarrassing for him, and it's an embarrassing for the football club.
He looked like an unprofessional fan whose team had just lost to the side they lost against the grand final and needed someone to yell at. Oh, it was embarrassing, actually.
It was really bad. But go back on the tape at the very start when they're telling him to put the McDonald's branded football in front. He's muttering to himself, going, "Oh, what am I, John Longmire? Am I?" Like making all these really angry comments about having to do the right thing by the sponsors who channel money into the game so that coaches can get paid $1 million+ a year.
Well, this is just it. There are way if you're all about the sanctity of footy. And you don't want leaks, and you don't want, the travesty of your team selection maybe being linked, go coach country footy. because there's a reason you get paid squillions of dollars to coach it and people get paid that much to play it. It's because people care and they want information and they're interested and glued to it. And idiots like me and the three of us, we pay money to go to games, we pay for subscriptions, we do all this kind of stuff because we care about it and we want to hear about it all the time. If that's not for you, don't do AFL. There's plenty of footy around.
That's right. And I also thought, talking about mental health whilst bullying and attacking someone on a national stage was the height of hypocrisy.
Let's go down that path, because Beveridge has cried at press conferences about people being tormented. So the AFL these days, the big buzzword is, you know, the field is the workplace, and we're having all these valid discussions about, you know, concussion protocols and players' self-esteem and mental wellness and all of that. So maybe the press room is also the workplace too for the journos who are in there. And if you're so mentally deficient, Luke Beveridge, that you think it's all right to berate someone who's actually doing what is totally orthodox and legitimate journalism on an issue that, really, keep it in perspective, mate. Like, you know, we're not talking about national cabinet leaks during wartime. We're talking about the Footscray lineup that comes out Thursday night. So if that journo is going to be utterly smashed by a coach at a press conference, maybe there's a bit of an oc health and safety thing for the AFL to look at there too.
Yeah, I think you've summed it up, and I know you're going to play some audio just after 7 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll play it for people so they can listen to it. It's a bit long, so we want to play it in full and give it an opportunity. But if you haven't heard it, it's worth hanging around for, because it was one of the more extraordinary outbursts that I've ever seen at a press conference of any kind, frankly, let alone football. It's just crazy.
Remarkable.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Check out Glider Roll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors, gliderroll.com.au.
This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Mostly sunny 29 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
We're 48 hours from Election Day. The wraps will come off Labor's policy costings today. Treasurer Rob Lucas unveiled the Liberals' costings at the start of the week, and he'll be very interested in today's figures.
One of the very popular promises he made in October, and he's continued to make, is free preschool for all 3-year-olds in South Australia. But he refuses to indicate what the cost of that will be when he releases the costings, and he can't be allowed to get away with that today.
The surge in COVID cases continues. 3,122 new infections were announced in SA yesterday. There are 136 people in hospital, and long lines have returned at COVID testing sites across Adelaide. Thousands of FIVEaa students will have their classes cancelled today as part of a teachers' strike. It follows what the Education Union describes as frustrating negotiations over a new enterprise agreement. A rally will be held at Parliament House from 12:30. A powerful 7.3 magnitude earthquake has hit northeast Japan, cutting power to millions of homes. Alison Petrowski reports.
The earthquake struck just before midnight local time and triggered a tsunami warning for Fukushima, the same area hit by the 2011 tsunami that resulted in a nuclear disaster. The quake lasted 2 minutes and was felt 100 kilometres away in Tokyo. Local media reporting a number of injuries from falling objects. One man in his 60s has died. A bullet train was derailed north of Fukushima. No immediate injuries have been reported from that incident. Safety inspections are underway on the nuclear power plants in the region. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida says the country's defence forces have been mobilised to assess the damage.
A funeral will be held for cricket great Rod Marsh at Adelaide Oval today. The service will be held in the McGarry Room from 11:30 and will be live streamed. The 74-year-old died earlier this month after suffering a heart attack. An official in the Ukrainian city of Mariupol says Russian forces have bombed a movie theatre where hundreds of civilians are sheltering, and there are growing concerns for hospitals across the country. Doctors Without Borders' Alex Wade has told Today supplies are running low, and that's led to tragic consequences.
People have started dying due to lack of access to medical care, people who had existing conditions, people who need access to insulin, hemodialysis, women who need access to safe birthing. People have died because of the violence and the shelling, and people will start dying of dehydration and hunger if they haven't already.
The United States has announced additional aid, including anti-tank weapons, to help Ukraine in the conflict. In the US, a Walmart distribution centre in Indianapolis has gone up in flames. The massive inferno can be seen from space, and explosions have been heard from inside the burning building. Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
And it's all happening in the footy world, and with all the details, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yes, Melbourne has started its premiership defence with an impressive 26-point win against the Bulldogs at the MCG. Christian Petrarca put in a best-on-ground performance with 38 touches and a couple of goals. Adelaide, meantime, begins its campaign on Sunday against Fremantle at home. Defender Brodie Smith telling Rowie he can't wait.
Oh, there's always a bit more in round one. It's always very exciting. Obviously, you wait a long time for footy season to come around, and thankfully this year for us it's even more exciting with a few new faces coming in as well. So round one's always a bit more hyped up, and there's a bit more on the line, I reckon.
Let's stick with footy. Collingwood's AFLW knockout final against Brisbane has been postponed because the Magpies haven't got enough players to field a team due to COVID isolation. The North Melbourne Fremantle match on Saturday, though, will go ahead. To cricket, Australia's been held to a frustrating draw by Pakistan in the second test in Karachi. The Aussies needed 8 wickets to secure a victory on the final day, but centuries from Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan helped the home side survive with 3 wickets still in hand. Cummins says it was a tough 5 days.
There's a couple of chances there that, you know, if we perhaps had taken them, might have been different. But yeah, really proud of how we played. We really satisfied with the last 5 days.
Adelaide United has gone down 2-1 against the Western Sydney Wanderers in the A-League overnight at Coopers Stadium. And European Champions League action has just started with Juventus taking on Villarreal while Lille is hosting Chelsea. It's 0-0 in both games. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast, and a top of 29 today, mostly sunny, cloud clearing tomorrow 29, and up to 32 and mostly sunny on Saturday. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. FIVEaa Breakfast.
23 to 7, we're off to the US before 7 o'clock. We're going to flash back with Michael Smith from 7 News very shortly. Might read a couple of texts first, though, David, on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. 044808 1395 is the number.
Okay, so here's one. He was absolutely wrong. This is Luke Beveridge, the author of this text, is talking about. He was absolutely wrong. He was emotional. But every now and then you journos need a shot across the midship. Fair enough. But I think pick your targets. And look, as I said, we're not the apologists for the fourth estate here. I reckon I've written it before. Sometimes the industry I work in makes me sick to the stomach, like going to these unctuous award nights, and like plumbers don't carry on like that. There's no Walkley Awards for plumbers.
No.
What is it about journos that makes them think they're so damn self-important? But
it's an interesting sort of thought exercise to walk to reverse what we know about the Beveridge situation and work backwards from his outburst. So what would have made that outburst legitimate? You'd imagine if you'd only seen what he said about, this you're a grub and this disgusting leak and did it, you'd think he was talking about someone's private life.
Yeah, like he's written a story about a drug problem or something like that.
That's right. Or some relationship issue or something that was just not in the public interest, but it was team selection night. Team selection. It's kind of germane to the whole conversation around footy.
I think Luke Beveridge needs a holiday.
Yeah.
He just had one, didn't he?
It's round 1.
Yeah, I know. What's he going to be like by round 23?
Yeah. All right, let's flash back. Michael Smith from 7 News joins us. Michael, good morning to you.
Thanks, David. Will, do I get the fuel?
No, you're
not eligible,
You've got to
mate.
wait for the cue to call,
Sorry.
Michael. You know that.
Well, this week's flashback coincidentally involves thousands of litres of fuel. We're going back to 1980 to remember what was described at the time as pandemonium at Pasadena. You guys know where the Foodland is at Pasadena on Five Ash Drive?
Yeah.
Directly across the road from there, where there's now a Lutheran church and a retirement village, a jumbo jet crash was created in 1980 for a movie called The Survivor. A lot of people might remember this because some people actually thought it was real. They spent days digging trenches, setting explosions, pouring fuel to blow up this jumbo jet opposite what was then the Woolies at Pasadena. It was based on a book by James Herbert. It was sort of a supernatural movie called The Survivor. And huge support from organisations like St. John, CFS, police, to make this all happen. In fact, it was said if there had been a real emergency in Adelaide that night, we would have been stuffed because most of the emergency services were up there blowing up this jumbo. A guy called Chris Murray, who just worked on Mad Max, organised the explosions. And I think at the time it was the biggest sort of pyrotechnic special effects movie ever made in Australia. I caught up with a guy called Dean Bennett, who has been a stuntman for about 40 years. He got his start on the movie because he just won the Young Filmmakers Festival and talked his way onto the set after impressing the director with the movie that he'd made. It starred Robert Powell and Jenny Agutter. But there was a really curious cameo. Tim Rice, the international lyricist, as in Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice, played the role of the TV reporter. And get this, he landed at the jumbo jet crash site in the FIVEaa helicopter. Here's Dean explaining how Tim Rice got involved in the movie.
Pretty sure Tim Rice was a very good friend of the director, David Hemmings, and he was in Australia at the time for FIVEaa, I think it was, and so obviously David talked him into hopping out of a FIVEaa helicopter and playing the reporter, which I think he did really, really naturally and well.
My question, Michael, is what happened to the FIVEaa helicopter? Why haven't we got a helicopter?
We missed the glory days.
I haven't even got a car.
Presumably they had to tell the helicopter to pay for you guys. I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, too. That's not the case. Hey, I'm just looking. The picture you've put up on Twitter, Michael, is unbelievable. I encourage everyone who's listening to check it out. Were there complaints about it? You know, I was reading a story this morning at the Times about there were 7 complaints about e-scooters last year, and they're going to get rid of them. Surely there were the locals saying we don't want to be next to this morbid-looking crash site.
Well, I think it was there for about 6 weeks, as it turns out, because it was a huge open paddock at the time. The jumbo itself was called the City of Elizabeth. It was made in Elizabeth and brought in trucks down to Panorama and Pasadena to be blown up. And at the time, 10,000 people turned out to watch this thing. I think it was on a Tuesday night. Of course, as I mentioned, there's now a retirement village there. And Dean tells this great story. Some years later, one of the residents was doing a bit of gardening, doing some digging, and they found one of the prosthetic dead bodies in their backyard. They called the cops and said, we found this burnt corpse in the backyard. Fortunately, the cop who they spoke to had been working on the movie at the time and said, oh, no, it's just a prop from the movie 10 years ago. Nothing to worry about, case closed.
That's terrific, Michael. What a great thing. I'd totally forgotten about that. It all came flooding back to me. When you said at the start it was going to be some petrol-related snarl in the southern suburbs from the 1980s, I thought you were going to be flashing back to Mick Scorpos petrol station there at Ascot Park.
In fact, I just drove past Mick Scorpos the other day thinking, gee, I wish he was open at $2.15.
Yeah, I know. Bring back Mick Scorpos.
Good on you, Michael.
Thanks,
mate. Michael Smith from 7 News with Flashback. Catherine on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line says, well, I was 9. We all went there to watch the plane blow up. I'm sure we've got lots of listeners with memories. 8223 if you've got them. Alana says, I was at high school down the road, walked up to have a look at the set a few times, didn't see the movie until 20-something years later, and to this day I still have no idea what it was all about. You know what the nice thing about this is? It harks back to an era when if you wanted a big plane to explode, you had to make a big plane that exploded. This doesn't happen now in 2022 because you can do it on computer.
Yeah, exactly.
You can simulate all this kind of stuff. At one point in time, to make a movie, if you wanted to see something, you needed to make that thing.
It was like the great rubber shark at Universal Studios.
Exactly right. You needed the big mechanical shark.
Well, I've seen that thing in the flesh, and when you see it, it helps you understand why, for about the first 50 minutes of the movie Jaws, it makes no appearances, because it's not really that convincing.
No, and they had real issues with... When they got to set to start filming, they realised it wasn't going to be as easy to film with this big, awful-looking shark in the water as they originally thought. So they had to craft ways to go, okay, let's have it grabbing onto a fishing line or a boat anchor or create the illusion that it's there because we want to show it as little as humanly possible.
But it's got that great mind's eye quality.
Totally. The great filmmaking.
Yeah, it's a superb movie, Jules.
All right, let's check traffic for the first time this morning. When we return, police and weather.
Morning, boys. Smash at 2 Wells this morning. That's between a car and motorcycle. Old Port Wakefield Road near Brooks Road. Burst water made at Northfield, Grey Junction Road near Hampstead Road. That's affecting both directions there. And Elizabeth works on Main North Road near Prince Charles Street. Continue that as you're heading outbound. A few cameras about Lobethal Road, Lobethal, Montague Road, Cavan, and Robinson Road at Waterloo Corner. Get up and get into Westfield for your chance to win 10K every day with the Westfield Plus app. T's and C's apply. Open to 16 plus. Ends April 6. Details at westfield.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they are offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Spend a night at Faulty Towers with the world's worst hotelier, Basil Faulty. Don't miss Faulty Towers, the dining experience. Book now at fringetix.com.au.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. We're having a massive short sharp sale right now. Save at least 25% store-wide. Save hundreds on sofas, chairs, dining and more, including our great Australian-made brands. Blink and you'll miss it. It's the Berkowitz Short Sharp Sale. Save at least 25% on RRP. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. Mile End Homemaker Centre. Sale ends Sunday.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
If your business could do with more business, you should try advertising here on the radio. 5AA can help turn your brand into a household name. We could do it with a jingle, or a really funny ad, or something deadly serious. Our audience is big enough to fill Adelaide Oval again and again. Get in touch with 5AA to find out how we can give your business more business.
I've been driving for most of my life and I've always been a safe driver, but as I've grown older, driving has become more challenging. Intersections feel busier, driving in peak hour traffic and travelling longer distances is stressful, and driving at night or in bad weather is risky. Even small mistakes can be costly. Look for the signs. If driving is getting harder, there are alternatives. Make a plan to stop driving on your terms. Don't stop driving by accident. Think road safety, a message from the Government of South Australia.
We don't just say we're local, we are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
12 to 7. Let's talk weather. Hannah Marsh is a senior forecaster at the Bureau. Hannah, before we talk about today, I want to reflect on yesterday a bit. How much rain did we end up getting yesterday?
Well, we ended up with generally 5 to 10 millimetres, 10.4 in the metro itself, and 12 in Mount Lofty was the top. So, yeah, the first time that we've had double-digit rainfall since the end of January.
It was remarkable. I think we only had a mil forecast or so that came out of nowhere. Is there any chance of a repeat performance?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a tricky one where the band just ended up being a little bit further south than what we were expecting. Today, it looks like that weather has cleared out to the east. We are expecting showers and thunderstorms to redevelop, but we are expecting them to be further north today. So there is still a slight chance of seeing a shower about the northern suburbs this afternoon, but it is a lot less likely than yesterday. We're heading for a maximum of 29 degrees in the city and Mount Barker, 28 for Glenelg and Noarlunga, and 31 at Elizabeth. Currently we're sitting on 17.6 after having a minimum of 17.3.
Sounds like a bit of that rain got into your phone line there, Hannah. It's a bit crackly, but 10 mil. I thought it was good solid rain.
Yeah, 10's the problem. It was 0 to 1. I remember this time yesterday when we were going to be talking about it.
Yeah.
Certainly got a hell of a lot more than that. All right, let's
Thanks, Hannah.
Let's catch up with SAPOL. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad's on the line. Kimberly, there was a crash at Two Wells.
Yeah, morning, Will and Dave. About 5:50 this morning, police were called to the intersection of Old Port Wakefield Road and Hayman Roads after reports a car and motorbike collided. Now, the motorbike rider is still being treated at the scene by paramedics. So we've got Old Port Wakefield Road blocked at that intersection for both north and southbound traffic, and we're just asking if motorists can avoid that area for now.
And Kimberly, also, this chap sounds like he was up to no good. Arrested with cannabis and knives after a traffic stop in the city.
Yeah, that's right. It was 2 o'clock. Patrol stopped a car in Gawler Place after it was spotted driving with no lights on. Now, when officers were speaking with the driver, they picked up a really strong smell of cannabis coming from the vehicle, even through the mask. And so they subsequently searched the car, and then they've located 2 knives underneath the driver's side floor mat, and also located prescription medication, cannabis, and also a USB containing over 200 scanned images of other people's personal identification. So we've arrested that driver. He's a 38-year-old man from Campbelltown. He's been charged with carrying an offensive weapon, possessing prescription medication, and also possessing that personal identification. So he'll be appearing in court in May.
Good work there. Kimberly Broad, Senior Constable from SAPOL, thank you.
9 to 7. Text on a range of subjects coming through on the Telstra Storm at Barker text line.
Quite a few about the jumbo crash at Pasadena in 1980. I was 3 years old and I vaguely remember driving past the site and being told they were making a film. I thought, how do they turn an old plane into film for Dad's camera? What about that? And quite a few here about the election campaign. Morning, boys. If the Repat Hospital and Glenside Hospital were still operating and people only called ambulances when they really need them, ramping would not be an issue. That's from Clarkey. Another one here from Andrew. Steve Marshall is starting to realise that a Nicola Spurrier-led health system is not realistic. Yes, I'll leave it at that.
Well, yesterday, the debate, Peter Malinowski said he would have kept borders shut. He would have listened to Nicola Spurrier more than Stephen Marshall.
See, Labor's line on that is actually far too absolute, because Nicola Spurrier never said you have to close the borders now that Omicron is here, after they open them on November 23. She said, well, the most dramatic way to stop more Omicron from coming into SA is you could reclose the borders.
Okay, well, on the basis of that, he's saying, so he would have gone further than Spurrier.
Yeah, but she wasn't saying do it, she was saying you could do it.
But yesterday at the debate, he said in absolute terms, we would have closed the border.
See, I actually think that's a politically convenient line that's designed
Not for that texter, that was just said that the incumbent government was taking too much from SA Health.
Yeah, but the thing is, for Malinowskis to say that now, I think it's all aimed at making people think back to how peed off they were over Christmas with queues and isolation and all of that. I mean, what were you going to do? Like, we would have let just enough Omicron into the state to let it run and then close the state again. You would have had... There are 10,000 families trying to get back into South Australia. They would have had no Christmas with their loved ones.
It's the false economy of where WA are right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to pay the bill. You had to pay the COVID bill at some point.
Yep, that's what happened.
And that's what they're doing.
But the thing is, Marshall got no benefit from it because he never sort of looked like he was the boss of the whole process.
No.
And then when it all went bad, suddenly everyone was blaming him.
Yeah, he got the worst.
Because suddenly he started running the press conferences.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You should have got the commissioner to do it all after November 23.
6 to 7. We're off to the US in just a moment.
The state election is this Saturday, and polling booths are open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. When you go to vote, remember to wear a mask and bring your EasyVote card. Not sure how to find your nearest polling booth? Just check the back of your EasyVote card, or you can use the polling booth finder on the MySA.gov app, or visit ecsa.sa.gov.au. Your vote, your voice. Authorised by M. Sherry, Electoral Commissioner.
North Point Toyota is donating a community vehicle to organisations in need. I'm here with Leah from the Ambulance Employees Association. Leah, what does the North Point community vehicle mean to you?
North Point's community vehicle means so much. The Ambos are really doing it tough. Having the opportunity to get out and visit them on the front line with a snack and a chat goes a long way.
Inquire about how North Point Toyota's community vehicle can help your organisation. Supporting our community. It's the North Point way.
Now, here we go. If you're fitting out a workshop, your shed, or rooms around the home with extra storage, forget the flat packet. Don't go down the path of the fool with the Allen key. Just give the guys a ring at Sharman Shelving. Sharman Shelving all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing we all love about Sharman Shelving. It's all done for you. Get a professional to do it. Get an expert to do it, in fact. It's not flat packed, so you're not going to sit there for hours trying to find, part A. Oh, that's meant to go into what? Part C? And what does that look like? Are there rivets on the side of that? I don't know. Because Part B isn't even there.
When I got my garden bench, turned up fully intact. One
beautiful
entire solid structure.
Piece of art.
It is. I just love looking at it, let alone using it. Call Sharman Shelving. They'll come out, give you a free measuring quote, then deliver, and if needed, assemble it for you.
The Mona Lisa didn't turn up at the Louvre with sort of colour by numbers on it, did it?
No. It arrived in one
Section
piece.
4, green.
That's right.
There's a reason for
Colour that bit in.
Yeah. If you want to assemble it yourself, they'll give you all the support you need, though, in case you did want to go down that path.
Same with Michelangelo's David, the
That's
statue.
right.
He wasn't like, hang on.
Screw this bit in.
It seems to be missing a couple of arms.
Yeah.
But that's just part of the original design. When it comes to storage solutions...
Bit of high art humour there. That was good.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Picasso, why are these faces all looking a bit strange? Everyone needs a little Sharman Shelving in their life. 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, sharmanshelving.com.au, or take a look on Facebook.
Mum, Dad,
Hey, honey.
I've met someone.
Oh my God, is he a doctor? A lawyer? Is he a surgeon?
He's a concreter. From Adelaide Exposed Concrete.
But why? Didn't you say so?
At Adelaide Exposed Concrete, we're committed to the highest standards of service, design and workmanship.
Finally, we've got a concreter in the family.
Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Best on ground, all year round.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
3 to 7. After 7 o'clock this morning, we'll take you through some of the big developing stories overnight, including the latest from Ukraine, some extraordinary audio from Chris Reason's chat, walking through rubble with the mayor of Kyiv, former heavyweight world champion Vladimir Klitschko. We'll also bring you up to speed with the latest $800 million worth of lethal aid. It's a phrase that we just only discovered this year, but it basically means weapons and munitions that the US are providing to Ukraine. We'll also get you across what will be the biggest story in football, not just today, but for the rest of the week. The outrageous outburst from Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge last night, directed at Fox Footy's Tom Morris for having the audacity to break a story about selection. And this one might be a shock and horror to the 6 million Netflix subscribers in Australia. The whole process of password sharing, they're going to crack down on it big time.
Are they really?
Yes.
This is where you can tell your mates your password.
Yeah, and they've turned a blind eye to it because it's been good for their numbers up until now.
Oh, really?
So they're going to start changing things. There's a trial in some other countries that will be coming here at some point, you'd imagine. But we'll
I wonder how they monitor that.
Yeah, I don't know. They've clearly got the way, but originally they didn't care because they just liked saying this many eyeballs, and they could almost make up anything.
Yeah,
and everyone went, "Oh, that sounds pretty good." But now it's all about the subscription. So, but we'll take you through it after 7 o'clock because it's just broken. Now a few more texts because they've been good this morning. The texts.
Danny in Craigmore says, "What's the point even having elections when the last few years have shown that politicians ultimately have no power and are just figureheads for people like Grant Stevens and Nicola Spurrier?"
I hope there's not another state of emergency where that's the case. Maybe Danny's forecasting we're in a perpetual state of emergency from here on out.
Who knows? Who knows when Zeta comes along or Upsilon or whatever other letter. Let's not even talk about that. One here from John, David and Will. I'm surprised Labor has not used information on Mr Marshall to counter the Liberal Party's scare campaign. I have definite proof that Mr Marshall cancelled the Clipsal race to save his own political career, then blatantly fibbed to us voters that it was for financial reasons. I don't know if cancelling the Clipsal is necessarily going to be shown to have saved his political career. I think there might be a few revheads in Newland and King who beg to differ.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to play out that way.
Doesn't look like it. One here, Mark in Para Hills having a crack at the journos. Morning, guys. I don't think Luke Beveridge went off. There was no raised voice, no swearing, no name calling. Don't know about the raised voice. He just told Tom Morris what he thought. Typical journalism. Good on you, Mark. Thank you. We admit we're not popular.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what makes this extraordinary.
That's what makes this extraordinary.
That's right.
You know how hard it is to make a journalist look sympathetic?
I know. It takes a special kind of genius.
Well, Luke Beveridge has achieved it.
That poor used car dealer.
Yeah, exactly. 7 o'clock, 5AA News on the way. We'll get into some more of those stories in a moment.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny 29 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
It's another day on the hustings for Stephen Marshall and Peter Malinauskas. Election policy costings will be the focus. The Libs unveiled theirs on Monday. Shadow Treasurer Stephen Mulligan says Labor's will be released today.
It is appropriate that once major parties have finished making all of their policy announcements and commitments for the next 4 years, that they summarise those, outline to South Australians how much they cost, and show how they're going to be accommodated within the state budget.
And Peter Malinauskas will join David and Will after 8 this morning. A routine traffic stop has ended in a drug, weapon and ID theft bust. Patrols pulled over a car in Gawler Place in the city around 2 a.m. A search of the vehicle allegedly uncovered 2 knives, prescription medication, cannabis and a USB containing 220 scanned images of other people's personal identification. A 38-year-old Campbelltown man has been charged and bailed to front court in May. Thousands of FIVEaa staff will walk off the job today. Michaela Kamarik has more.
A ballot of TAFE members has resulted in more than 2/3 supporting the call for a 4-day strike. It follows what the union describes as frustrating negotiations over a new enterprise agreement. They argue TAFE reneged on rollover terms and conditions from the 2016 agreement. The union also opposes changes to the redeployment, retrain and redundancy clauses. A rally will be held at Parliament House from 12:30 this afternoon.
Cricket great Rod Marsh will be farewelled today at Adelaide Oval. A private service will be held in the McGarry Room from 11:30 and members of the public can watch the service at the Oval on the big screen or online. The 74-year-old died earlier this month after suffering a heart attack. The Earth has been moving in Japan, a 7.3 magnitude earthquake overnight triggering a tsunami warning and knocking out power to millions of homes. 1 death and injuries are being reported. US President Joe Biden has answered Ukraine's request for further assistance, announcing another $800 million in military aid. The announcement comes in response to an impassioned call from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to US Congress, in a rare appearance by an Eastern European leader.
The Ukrainian people are defending not only Ukraine, we are fighting for the values of Europe and the world. That's why today the American people are helping not just Ukraine, but Europe and the world to keep the planet alive.
The package does not include support for a no-fly zone over Ukraine, a decision backed by NATO. And Netflix is cracking down on password sharing between households. The streamer plans to charge customers an additional fee to share their service. They're testing the feature in selected markets in South America. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The teams for the Crows and Port Adelaide will come out tonight ahead of their round 1 matches this weekend. The season got underway last night with Melbourne 26-point winners against the Bulldogs in their grand final rematch. To cricket, and Australia has missed the chance to claim a win in the second test after Pakistan held on for a draw in the second test in Karachi. Chasing 506 to win, the home side finished at 7 for 443, with captain Babar Azam leading the way with 196. To soccer, Adelaide United has failed to claim a fourth straight win after being upset 2-1 at home by the Western Sydney Wanderers. The Reds led thanks to an early goal from Craig Goodwin, but the Wanderers hit back, the winner coming in the 75th minute.
Joe Gaucho, they got in a terrible mess as the ball over the line. It is now Thomas Love Merchula with his first goal for his new club. And the Wanderers have taken the lead.
Audio there thanks to Channel 10, and there's a stack of action overseas with Arsenal and Liverpool in a blockbuster English Premier League clash. It's currently 0-0, about a quarter of an hour into that one. Tottenham leads Brighton 1-0 heading into the second half, while in European Champions League action, Lille is hosting Chelsea, scores currently locked at 0-0. Well, Alex de Minaur is currently in a third set deciding tie-break against Taylor Fritz in the deciding set of their match at Indian Wells. Australian Daria Saville withdrew from her match with Maria Sakkari after an adductor strain, and she says she had to make the call to prevent further injury.
Obviously what affected me was playing a 3-hour match yesterday, and it just started getting worse and worse during the match. There's no way I can play the way I want to play.
And round 2 of the NRL season gets underway tonight in Melbourne with the Storm taking on South Sydney. The match will be Storm coach Craig Bellamy's 500th in charge. A great effort. That is the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At 2 War's got a smash there between a car and motorcycle on Old Port Wakefield Road. Old Port Wakefield Road is closed at Hayman Road. Burst water main at Northfield, Grange Junction Road near Hampstead Road down to one lane both directions. And Elizabeth Works on Main North Road near Prince Charles Street heading outbound. Cameras, Bolivar Road, Burton, Main Street, Lobethal. What's better than getting a mouth-watering Krispy Kreme original glazed donut? Getting 4 of them. For a limited time only, get the $10 4-pack for just $8 at OTR stores. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, mostly sunny for your Thursday, 29, cloud clearing tomorrow, 29, Saturday mostly sunny and 32 degrees. Right now it's 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Jump in my car.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Jump in my car.
7 after 7. Good morning to you. If you're joining us for the first time, you've tuned in at an excellent time because we're giving away $100 worth of free fuel in the next 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, all you need to say, thanks, David and Will.
We're here to help.
That's what we aim to please. That's coming up.
We are but your humble servants, South Australia.
Exactly right. Matt Abraham.
It's a pretty good prize in the current
climate. It's an excellent prize. Couldn't be better.
Petrol.
I mean, it's gold.
$120.60 my tank last week. I still can't get over that. Took a photo of it.
You couldn't even fill up for free.
No.
Matt Abraham's coming up after 7:30 for the very last time before we go to the polls on Saturday. Looking forward to chatting with the Matt and getting his final prediction of what's going to happen. In our election wrap, Peter Malinauskas will join us. We spoke with Stephen Marshall on the election wrap earlier in the week, and today it'll be the leader of the Labor Party, and also after 8 o'clock. Crows fans, make sure you tune in for the first edition of The Dude this season. Tom Duday will be live with us after 8 o'clock today.
And then tomorrow, Orazio.
It's good footy. Footy's back. Life has natural
Campbelltown's own
order to it.
Orazio. I wonder if he's had any good Italian feeds over summer with his nonna.
What are you going to? Is it $1? I reckon.
Still angling for an invite.
I know you are. Let's get to some of the news of the day, and we'll start with Ukraine because there's been a $1 billion development overnight. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky from Kyiv spoke directly to Congress and in the process directly to Joe Biden overnight.
Today it's not enough to be the leader of the nation. Today it takes to be the leader of the world. Being the leader of the world means to be the leader of peace.
He drew comparisons with the current experience in Kyiv to it being like having September 11 happen every single day, to it being like Pearl Harbor every single day at the moment. In response, US President Joe Biden announced $800 million US in security assistance.
This new package on its own is going to provide unprecedented assistance to Ukraine. It includes 800 anti-aircraft systems to make sure the Ukrainian military can continue to stop the planes and helicopters that have been attacking their people and to defend their Ukrainian airspace.
Yeah, 800 Stinger anti-aircraft systems, 100 drones, I think, is the interesting one. There's a lot of small arms, ammunition, body armour, helmets, things like that. anti-armour weapons, the kind of things that have been taking down tanks as well. But 100 drones is fascinating for mine, because the supplying of Poland with jets, who can in turn give their aircraft to Ukraine, has been a sticking point. It's been a stumbling block. There's not been any desire to give extra planes to Ukraine for fear of it being seen as an escalation.
They've had some pretty big hits, though. I mean, given how outnumbered they are, the Ukrainians having a real crack. They knocked out 3 Russian helicopters.
Oh, they've taken a lot. The number of tanks. I mean, it's been, a lot of people go back and study this, but the small arms weaponry's capacity to take down things like armour and support aircraft has been quite remarkable. They've theoretically been outmatched, but it hasn't played out that way necessarily. That said, there is still devastation of cities like Mariupol and Kyiv now, where locals are suggesting it looks more like the desire is simply just to level the joint than try to win this war or continue the parade of being liberators. Chris Reason, who we've spoken to on a number of occasions, covering it all for Channel 7 in Kyiv, was walking among the rubble with the mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, who was the former heavyweight world champion, and Klitschko's towering over him, and Chris Reason asks him this question.
Putin says he's only targeting military targets.
Bullshit. Sorry. Where is military target? This building is military target.
They're walking around in apartment blocks, and he looks, he looks exasperated. It's just, and it's, look, they
do a good line in spin-free analysis, the Ukrainian leaders, don't they?
Well, you kind of always you feel like there's the fog of war, and we're all being spun to on some level, and there's propaganda, and some things are real and some aren't. Some have been exposed. I just find it hard to accept there's any mistruth to the idea that the destroyed apartment block is somehow either A, military target, or B, has been orchestrated by the Ukraine. I struggle to see the spin in that. It's pretty plain to see what's happening there at the moment from that front. All right, let's talk footy. Let's talk about the biggest story in the world of football today and over the course of the week. It has to do with a confrontation between Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge and Fox Footy's Tom Morris in the press conference post-game last night, where Melbourne runaway winners over the Bulldogs. They looked frightening. Did Melbourne. They flexed their muscle and just rolled over the top. Perhaps that's what got Luke Beveridge a little bit hot under the collar. Tom Morris had broken some news that Premiership midfielder Lockie Hunter was not selected for the game against Melbourne. He was then named on Tuesday night. Then he was left out, this is Lockie Hunter, in favour of Hayden Crozier. But then he was a late inclusion because Jason Johannesson got injured in the warm-up. So there was some shenanigans going on that front. But this is what played out after the game at the press conference between Luke Beveridge and Tom Morris.
Similar as well. Is that just normal round one preparation to be uncertain, I guess, of how you're going to prepare?
So you've been preying on us the last 2 times. You barracked for Melbourne, Tom Morris. Been preying on us. You've been opening us up, causing turmoil within our football club by declaring our team well before it needs to be declared. Is that the way Fox want you to operate? Is that what you're doing? Is that the gutter journalist you want to be?
No.
Is that who you want to be?
If you let me answer,
right?
Luke.
So we went in with a plan. We had some late stuff go on with JJ, unfortunately coming out in the warm up. Everything other than that was according to plan from the Sunday, which somehow you've found out about again. So we need to get to the bottom of this. Obviously, we need to put our hand up and say that there's some leakage going on, but you're preying on it. And it's a team you barrack for. Your conflict of interest here is considerable. And yet your gutter journalism at the moment is killing
But Tom Morris having the audacity to break news about team selection. We have national cabinet leaks that are treated with more respect.
Gutter journalism is like chasing Princess Diana down a freeway.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to work out who's going to be in the team. If there's an internal problem at the Western Bulldogs, that's something Luke Beveridge needs to address. But I said earlier with Tom Wren, I was watching the press conference. I hadn't seen it live, but my son, my footy mad son Jimbo, texted me. He said, "Dad, you got to get on this," and he sent me the link. So I watched it from the start. Beveridge comes in with the hump from the get-go.
Yep.
He's just lost the game. Well, so what? No one's died, mate. It's round 1, You could be 1 from 2 next week. You played pretty well. Second quarter was electric. But at the start, he's muttering something under his breath about having to put the sponsor's ball that's got the Macca's logo in front of it. Now, these guys have to understand the reason they get paid so much money, like staggering money compared to the average punter, it involves sponsors and it involves media commitments. The bloke acted like a total sook. The journo's just doing his job. And I actually think the AFL will take Beveridge aside and say, mate, we're going to have a chat about this.
They should.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's embarrassing. You got to conduct yourself better than that when you're the head coach. You're basically the spokesperson for an entire football club.
Anyway, folks, clearly...
He looks just like a bad loser.
Well, yeah, that's what we think. A lot of people don't agree with us, and we always like hearing from people who don't agree with us. 0448081395 is the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line.
Plenty of text coming through on that front. Let's I'm sure everyone will be concerned about this next story. Mel Usher just had a little bit of it in 5AA News. I think Variety broke it overnight in the United States. Netflix is going to launch a test letting primary... This is great. I love just listen to the wording of this. Netflix is going to launch a test letting primary account holders pay an additional fee for users outside their households. What they're doing is cracking down on the process of password sharing for online services, which is rife. Everyone's doing it, where there's in your family, you've got one person who's probably paying for the Netflix and they give the password off to other people and they tune in and that's how they use it. The streaming services haven't cared that you've been able to do that because the technology exists to stop it or make it difficult. They haven't cared because they've been all about, look how many people around the world are watching what we do. Look how many people are out there. There might be 1 billion. We know there are 221.8 million paying subscribers worldwide, but they've happily said, oh yeah, but that means that's a household. There's other households that are connected to it, and that's billions of people. That's why they've become so big. But what they're doing to crack down on it now, because you might recall they had a massive loss to their share price in the last couple of months on account of the subscriber numbers not growing as quickly as they might have hoped. They're going to launch a test in Chile, Costa Rica and Peru. Don't know what they did wrong to be the first countries to cop this. If you share your membership with people outside your household, you won't be able to do it unless you pay a little bit extra. You're going to have to pay a few extra dollars to be able to make it an account that can be shared easily.
We pay extra because we've got a family account. Because sometimes there'll be like three of us
right, so you can be logged
things.
In all at the same time.
So Kate and I will be watching something, then the older kids will be watching something. So you pay extra for that. Maybe we should have been sharing the passwords.
Yeah,
although it doesn't work within the one household. I don't know. Can't we just bring back Blockbuster Video?
There's 6 million Australians are paying subscribers. So by
the chief problem I've got, I don't know my password.
I
have to ring my daughter to find out what it is. Anything goes wrong with the TV, I drive her mad.
Yeah.
So can you fix this? Just put the batteries in, Dad. Oh, okay, no worries.
So 6 million households pay in Australia, which probably means there's even more than that. That number stunned me. I didn't realise the penetration of this kind of thing was that great.
One text here, seriously, Netflix, with a new service popping up every week and content getting thinner, many people I know are going back to the days of VPNs, etc. What's that, VPN?
A virtual private network, where you can basically mask your IP address, so the services won't know where you are.
Very important text here from our good friend Tessa in Paraka, who's actually running as a candidate for, correct us if you're wrong, Tessa, you're running in the northern suburbs. She's running as an independent for Newland, I think, or Hartley. She says, good morning, boys. What time do you kick off your election show on Saturday? Well, the show proper starts at 10:30, but we're going to be doing a few updates during the Port Brisbane game too, aren't we, Will?
Yeah, we will be, yes.
Around the grounds with Marshall and Malinauskas.
Yeah, something like that. But the show proper will start at 10:30.
And it's Peter Malinauskas with a couple of big early Harvey Normans in... we should do it with all the footy nicknames.
With all the sponsors, you think?
Yeah.
Well, why not? We'll look into that. Lucy's telling me the 5AA Facebook live stream on the night is going to be up and running as well. And this is going to be special because Brooklyn Munn, who does our live stream, puts together a better service than there is anywhere in the country. It's just simply streets ahead of anything else. The stuff she's put together for election night. Well, yeah, I don't digest enough media to know the world. I assume it's the world, but certainly Australia. Is spectacular. So make sure you tune in on the night because we'll have all the graphs, the data, and I think an election coverage is only good as the graphics, frankly. You'll be able to watch along and see it all with in spectacular high def on the 5AA Facebook live stream. So we encourage you to do that on Saturday night.
Do not make the fatal error of watching it on the ABC. You'll just die of boredom. This is going to be loose. It's going to be fun. There's going to be pizza. There's going to be refreshments.
Again,
I'm going to wear a suit.
Not for the listeners. You're going to wear a suit?
Yeah, well, I'm going on Sky before.
Oh, right.
So I'm going to arrive dressed to the nines, Will. I look like you and you're back in your Peter Shearer days.
Well, how about that? Well,
look out for the man.
I'll look like you in your current days. Time to check traffic. When we return, we're giving away $100 worth of free fuel.
Thanks, Will. Add 2 walls got a smash there between a car and motorcycle. It's on Old Port Wakefield Road. Old Port Wakefield Road is closed at Hayman Road. Avoid the area if you can. Torrens Park, urgent sewer works there. Belair Road near Princess Road. And burst water main at Northfield this morning. Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road. Down to 1 lane both directions. Cameras West Avenue, Edinburgh. Salisbury Highway, Dry Creek. Hey, you are serving up beaches, barbies and blow-ups on board the brand new series Below Deck Down Under. Join your Aussie captain and new crew tomorrow, only on Hey You. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
AFL is back for 2022. And 5AA is Adelaide's football leader. Catch every game, live, local and passionate, with South Australia's best call team. Stephen Rowe, Tim Ginniver, Mark Bickley, David Wildy, Will Goodings and Tom Wren.
That's a brilliant goal!
Adelaide's best local AFL coverage in 2022 is 5AA football.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
Sail to the heart of landmark cities and picturesque villages with Phil Hoffman Travel and Seabourn, the world's finest ultra-luxury resort at sea. From complimentary bars and world-class dining to all-suite accommodation, Seabourn welcomes you to all-inclusive luxury cruising. Book a select 2022 or 23 voyage now for a complimentary 2-category veranda suite upgrade and a 50% reduced deposit. Contact Phil Hoffman Travel today. Visit pht.com.au.
It's Kitchen Week at Spartan right now. Kitchen Week is 7 days of store-wide savings across kitchen appliances. Get ovens, cooktops, range hoods, dishwashers and fridges at Adelaide's best prices all week.
I love Spartan Electrical. If you want to get absolutely crackerjack brands, just I haven't been to the Campbelltown store, but I know the Torrensville one extremely well because I used to live in that street, Wainhouse Street. If you're upgrading the heart of your home, save big with up to 15% off ASCO kitchen packages and up to $1,300. ASCO's a great brand. I've got an ASCO dishwasher. $1,300 off ASCO laundry packages.
Spartan Electrical's appliance experts can help you select from the best brands for your kitchen, laundry or outdoor area. They have the experience being family owned for more than 50 years. Spartan's Heart of the Home Kitchen Week sale is on right now, interest-free. Zip and Afterpay. I don't know what Zip is, but it sounds excellent. Zip and Afterpay are also available.
Shop local. Shop with a South Australian-owned family-run company. Shop Spartan, Campbelltown and Torrensville. Ends on Monday.
Is that one there? Ah, no. Oh, found one. Maybe not. Small car hiding behind the big ones. Oh, are they leaving? No, they're getting their bags out the back. I'll just do one more lap.
The worst part about shopping is you usually spend more time looking for a park than in the shops. Not at Newton Central. With access to over 500 car parks, you'll never have to do one more lap of the parking lot before you shop. Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
We don't just say we're local, we are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Mate Abraham not too far away. Tom Duday after 8 o'clock, and sandwiched between them, the man who might be Premier in 4 days' time. Peter Malinauskas will be our guest after 8 o'clock. I said 4 days, so I just picked a random time because God knows when they'll actually finish counting, or we'll have enough evidence to sort of definitively call it, because we suspect it won't be during our election coverage on Saturday night, do we? Unless there's something extraordinary that goes on.
Well, something extraordinary could be that the poll that was in yesterday's Advertiser is 100% bang on.
Yep.
And the only way we'll know, like, say we get a whole bunch of early votes and they're liberally spread across the seat of, say, Davenport, which is sort of Aberfoyle Park, neck of the woods, or your neck of the woods, Colton, or, dare I say it, the seat of Dunstan, which the Premier holds by a margin of some 7%. If we know that there's big wins like that for Labor early on,
then it's
shut the gate.
Yeah, game over. We might know Saturday night. All right, let's do something that's always fun, but unfortunately, like the election, there can only be one winner. We're giving away $100 worth of free fuel.
Thanks, Dave and Will.
Oh, yes!
Thanks, David and Will.
Yeah, that's right. That's all you need to say when you call in on 8223 0055. We take the call live, and you say, thanks, David and Will. You say anything else and you get nothing, but you say those four magic words, and you'll get $100 worth of free fuel, thanks to the excellent Chris Jarmer from Jarmer's Kitchen. You can pop into Jarmer's Kitchen. Casual eatery for the family, friends, in fact, any occasion. 18 Park Terrace at Bowden. 8223 0055.
Chris is a legend.
Get calling now.
As we were just talking, Will, Chris texted saying, do you guys need some food for your election night coverage? I think the answer to that's probably yes.
That's an easy yes. All right, I think we've got someone on the line. Good morning.
Thanks, David and Will.
Oh, oh no. Whoops. No. Hang on. What are you doing? We had buzzer error there. Sorry about that. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris.
How you going there, Chris? When was the last time you had to fill up your car?
Last week. But yes, it soon goes down.
Did you get a rude shock? Can you remember what you paid, Chris?
I think it was about $1.10 or something at the time.
The good old days.
Yes. The new low.
Yeah, why no? I paid $2.25. I meant to put premium unleaded in my car.
Couldn't do it.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it feels like a bridge too far. Congratulations to you, Chris. Big thanks to Jarmer's Kitchen as well. 18 Park Terrace at Bowden. Magnificent spot. Last night on the 5AA Sports Show, ahead of the first game, Rowie had an interesting conversation with the great Lee Matthews. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. They spoke about building a tradition whereby the first game is the grand final rematch. And I think, frankly, if last night was anything to go by, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I love the fact tonight, it's not a grand final rematch. The two grand finals are playing off, not playing off, but are playing again at the home ground where you can unfurl the flag. I reckon that should happen every year.
Spot on.
It just seems to me, because if you've won the premiership, doesn't matter whether someone mentioned, say, the Gold Coast Suns. If the Gold Coast Suns win a premiership, they're going to be gigantic in southeast Queensland. So they get a full stadium there for whoever they play. So I just love what's happened. You know, sometimes you think, how come we haven't done this forever? It seems such a logical thing to do.
It does seem like a logical thing to do, and his point is right. Played at the home ground of the winner, so they get the opportunity to have the fanfares. It was nice for Melbourne fans to have that last night.
Yeah, I agree.
With they didn't have the grand final in Melbourne.
How nice was it to start the year not with Carlton Richmond? I mean, we've got to enjoy that tonight.
It was great.
Well, it might actually be quite a good game with Carlton looking a bit resurgent.
Yeah, we've thought that before.
Oh, yeah, you just got to say it every year, though.
Yeah, that's right. We don't have to tie ourselves into it as much now.
It's like prawn prices at Christmas.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just one of those little fixtures on the AFL calendar where at the start of the year you say, I wouldn't write Carlton off this year, and then they don't make the 8.
Well,
then they have a root and branch review.
Yes,
of their entire.
Blame the coach.
Yeah, and the culture. And,
yeah, that's right.
All of that.
Get in a leadership consultant.
Call the corporate psychologist.
Yeah. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. 5AA News on the way. And then, for the last time before we go to the polls,
9 to 10, out of 10, every time.
Talking spin with Matt Abraham.
The state election is this Saturday, and polling booths are open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. When you go to vote, remember to wear a mask and bring your EasyVote card. Not sure how to find your nearest polling booth? Just check the back of your EasyVote card, or you can use the polling booth finder on the MySA.gov app, or visit ecsa.sa.gov.au. Your vote, your voice. Authorised by M. Sherry, Electoral Commissioner.
Summer might be over, but
With Mad March upon us, now's the perfect time to get into your local Vinnie's shop and pick up a bargain. Until Sunday, you'll save 40% off all clothing and shoes at all Vinnie's SA shops. Choose from a range of affordable pre-loved clothing, including top name brands. And remember, shopping at Vinnie's is good for our environment, good for you, and good for our community. Find something unique at a Vinnie's shop near you.
Have you ever wondered if retirement living would suit you? Come along to an FIVEaa open home and enjoy a sneak peek of the life you could lead. These free events are from the 29th to the 31st of March at 15 FIVEaa communities across Adelaide. You can explore the communities, walk through display homes and chat with our friendly team. Attendees must be vaccinated and all events will operate with a COVID-safe plan. Take the first step and search FIVEaa Open Home today. RSVP is essential.
Look around your house and yard. If you see old tools, broken bike frames, an old fridge and even that old car, don't look at it as junk, look at it as dollar signs. At Nor Metals, our priority is to give you the best value for your scrap metal disposal. We offer cash for scrap Monday to Friday and Saturday mornings for a range of different steel supplies and car components, including bodies and radiators. Get cash for your scrap at Nor Metals, 255 Grand Junction Road, Ottaway.
How far would you go for your dream kitchen? And how far would you go to not deal with organising all the trades? How about 15 minutes up the freeway to Balhanna Kitchens by Design? 2, the largest showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Custom build your dream with our award-winning designers. Plus, we can manage the installation and all sub-trades at a fixed price. Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream a reality. balhannakitchens.com.au.
Here comes the all-new Kia Stonic SUV. Step up into the latest SUV on the block and see it all with an elevated ride height. Packed with a turbocharged punch, up-to-date smart tech, striking two-tone colour range. Hold up. And Australia's best 7-year warranty? The all-new Kia Stonic SUV. You up?
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny 29 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
The state election campaign will focus on the finances today. Labor's policy costings will be unveiled. Treasurer Rob Lucas wants to know how a Malinaskis government would fund their promise of free preschool for 3-year-olds.
The government's had a report which indicates that over a 4-year period, depending on which particular model you choose, the cost is between $360 million and $580 million. So it's a huge sum of money, and so far Mr Malinaskis has refused to indicate what the cost of that will be.
The opposition leader will join David and Will after 8 this morning. TAFE SA staff are taking strike action today in protest of better working conditions. The Education Union argues TAFE reneged on rollover terms and conditions from the 2016 Enterprise Agreement. A rally will be held at Parliament House from 12:30. Knives were found in a car during a traffic stop in the city this morning. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says a patrol pulled over a vehicle in Gawler Place which was driving with no lights on.
When officers were speaking with the driver, they picked up a really strong smell of cannabis coming from the vehicle. So they've subsequently searched the car, and then they've located 2 knives underneath the driver's side floor mat, and also located prescription medication, cannabis, and also a USB containing over 200 scanned images of other people's personal identification.
The driver, a 38-year-old Campbelltown man, was arrested and charged with a number of offences. There's hope of hip pocket relief for some families with private health insurance premiums tipped to drop. Madeline McNeil has the story.
Medical device suppliers have agreed to reduce the cost of prosthetics in the private health system to bring them closer to those in the public system. Private insurers have been lobbying for the change, citing the costs of medical devices as a key reason for upward pressure on premiums. The new federal government agreement with suppliers is expected to save families up to $50 a year.
At least one person is dead and more than 2 million homes in Japan have been left without power after the country was hit by a powerful earthquake overnight. It clocked in at 7.3. It struck near the site of another tremor 11 years ago, which sparked the Fukushima nuclear disaster. Russian President Vladimir Putin has admitted sanctions are hurting his country's economy. Europe correspondent Brett McLeod reports.
Speaking at the Kremlin, the Russian president claimed what he calls the special operation has been a success, even as his forces show little sign of progress beyond bombing civilians. He said that the conflict had merely been a pretext for the West to impose sanctions, which he admitted for the first time are hurting Russia's economy. Meantime, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said Ukraine's neutral status was being seriously discussed as a condition of ceasefire. The deal would allow Ukraine to keep an army, but ruled out joining NATO. Ukraine negotiators responded by saying any peace deal would need agreement by the West that they would come to Ukraine's aid in the event of any future conflict.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy. Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge has lost his cool following his team's 26-point loss to Melbourne in last night's AFL season opener. He targeted a journalist with a 3-minute rant for publishing leaked team news for a mole in his camp. Whilst admitting Fox Footy's Tom Morris actually got the story right, Beveridge says the journalist had a lot of nerve turning up to the post-match press conference.
You cause all this muckraking trash that happens behind the scenes and names get brought up into it, and all we're doing is planning for a football game. I can't. Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're proud of yourself?
Yeah, Fox backs me completely.
Wow.
Australian Test captain Pat Cummins has no regrets with his approach to the second Test in Pakistan, which has ended in a draw.
There's a couple of chances there that, if we perhaps had taken them, might have been different.
Set a target of 506, Pakistan finished up at 7 for 443. To soccer, Adelaide United's gone down 2-1 against the Western Sydney Wanderers in the A-League overnight. Meantime, in overseas action, Arsenal and Liverpool are all square at 0-0 at half-time in their English Premier League clash. Tottenham is 2-0 up against Brighton, while in European Champions League action, Lille and Chelsea are locked at 1-1, while it's 0-0 between Juventus and Villarreal. And Nick Kyrgios is into the quarterfinals at the Indian Wells Tennis Masters after Yannick Sinner withdrew injured. Alex de Minaur has gone down to Taylor Fritz in a third set tiebreak. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Two Wells got a smash on Old Port Wakefield Road. That's between a car and motorcycle. Old Port Wakefield Road is closed at Hayman Road. Torrens Park, urgent sewer works there. Belair Road near Princess Road. And a burst water main this morning. It's at Northfield Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road. Got a few cameras. Old Port Wakefield Road, Virginia. Tippett Road, Millbrook. 6 KFC original recipe chicken pieces for $6.95. Only on the app before 6 p.m. Not everywhere, not forever, and not in Queensland or New South Wales. Max 2 each. Delivery fees apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
To the 5AA forecast, and 29 today, mostly sunny, cloud clearing tomorrow, also 29, and then up to 32 on Saturday. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to 8. Always know our chats with mate Abraham to be good when I momentarily forget news is finished because we've been starting the segment a little bit early. And thus is the case today. Your local Mitre 10, friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful. Mitre 10.
Mitre 10 out of 10 every time.
For the last time before polling day, Matt Abraham, good morning to you. Not for the last time ever.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
You acted as though my pause may have been a little too pregnant.
What's the definition of optimism in radio? Ironing 5 shirts on a Sunday night.
Who ironed shirts?
Well, exactly. You're covered. You're covered.
That's right. We're going to have some trademark M. Abraham number crunching here. But before we do, Matt, can I ask you, did you watch the debate last night?
Shamefully, no, I did not watch the debate last night because I made a late call in the rain to fertilise the lawns.
Oh, great work.
Which fortunately inspired my Sunday Mail column, because before that I was bereft. So
it's amazing how menial chores can often give you the inspiration you need for a column idea, isn't it?
Yeah. So a little bit of, actually 10 kilos of golf course green.
Oh, that's good, that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know what's in it, but...
Kid that might have 10.
Exactly.
Bit of product placement.
Well, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
According to the polls, according to the crowd last night who did watch the debate, all of them undecided voters, 100 voters, 67 of whom gave it to Peter Malinauskas. Is it all over Red Rover?
Well, I think come Monday we'll have a Labor government. I think we'll have a Malinauskas government. And I base that on not just the vibe around the campaign, but the two big polls. The YouGov poll in the Tiser this week that shows Labor on 56-44, and the Liberal primary vote with a 3 in front of it. And, there's an old saying, I remember former Labor Senator Chris Schott said, to win an election you have to have a 4 in front of your primary vote. And
as opposed to a 33.
As opposed to a 33. So I think the Labor primary vote's about 41. And then you've got the Green... You've got the Greens, and that's how we get preferences, of course. They sort of flail around, and they've also had a bit of a guess of what will happen with, not a guess, an informed guess, I suppose, about what happens to the old, what we call the Xenophon vote. And that gives you 56-44. The News poll was...
53-47?
Yeah. So they're two big polls. They're credible polls. Polls can be wrong. And John Howard in town yesterday, who shows... just what a good natural campaigner he is, even at his age. He's just incredible. He said, what was it? 800 people, see you on Saturday, basically. Well, that's, that's fair. You've got to factor that in. But it looks, the swing's been on for weeks, and we've got two credible polls showing that. So I think that's where it's pointing us. On those figures, if it's uniform, and one of these sort of cliffhanger marginal seats might just hang in there by its fingernails for the Liberal Party. But you've got to say that Newland on 0.1, King 0.6, Adelaide 1, and Elder 2. If that swing is at 56-44, they'll be wiped out. Doesn't matter how good local members are. When there's a big swing on, the dopes and the geniuses all get the same treatment.
Yeah,
I'm afraid. Then you've got to look at the Liberal Party trying to save the furniture, and I think Vincent Tarzi is running a very good campaign in Hartley on the ground. But we look at seats like Waite, for instance, which is on 7.4. Now, that should be a Liberal seat. Alexander Hyde, Adelaide City Councillor, is running against Sam DeLuc. I think on these figures, Sam DeLuc's going to keep Waite, and I've always thought he was. Dunstan, Stephen Marshall's seat, standing against Cressida O'Hanlon on 7.4. That would be a real scrap on these figures for him to keep that. And then I think we've got to look at seats like, for instance, Gibson, Corey Wingard's seat. Now, that's on 10%. Who knows what's going to happen there?
Well, there were local issues dangerous. There that annoyed a lot of the residents, like the Hove Crossing that dragged on and on and on. And
yeah. You just... And the other seat, I think, that's going to be very interesting is Stewart. Now, that's on 11.7 margin. That's held by the Deputy Premier, Dan Van Holst-Pelican. If things go really pear-shaped, we'd have, I think, the unprecedented situation of a Premier and a Deputy Premier both losing their seat. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying if things go really pear-shaped. Because Stewart... we've got Jeff Brock running against Dan Van Holst-Pelican. Now, obviously, he's he got the Hawaiian kahuna pizza that sealed the
big kahuna.
I've never seen such a big pizza bowl. I didn't realise, but when Jay Weatherall and he posed later with the pizza shop owner, I thought, well, boy, you're going to lock someone in eating that. You have them for a few undivided attention for a few hours. So that's on 11.7, but they've dropped in the boundary reshuffle the whole of Port Pirie into Stewart. Now, Port Pirie's a Labor town. If the Labor vote, if the Labor primary vote is in the 40s, if the primary vote's in the 40s, then I'd keep a big eye on election night on Stewart.
So, okay, you've just described the range of potential outcomes from a moderate Labor win, shall we say, to an absolute landslide. With the data sets we have available, what's the best case you can make for Stephen Marshall holding on? What would that look like?
Well, it would look like him. Well, it's hard to see, actually. But,
maybe
it's Labor winning only 3 of the 4 seats.
That's right.
And then
it would
Dan Cregan and Troy Bell not doing anything nuts.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Peter Malinauskas has been just so strategic. So I don't think Stephen Marshall's been to Mount Gambier for this entire election campaign. And Mount Gambier is one of those strange electorates. I mean, Troy Bell is incredibly popular down there, and even though he is contesting fairly serious charges in the courts, and he's protesting his innocence and contesting them, and it's up to the courts to decide that. Putting that in there, those same charges were hanging over him in 2018. He got re-elected.
Yeah,
and I'm expecting him to be re-elected. And Peter Malinauskas has been down there promising stuff for them. Peter Malinauskas has been in Dan Cregan's seat of Carville, promising a new hospital for Mount Barker.
New ambulance station.
Yeah. What do you want?
They said they're prepared to talk to that Spanish rail infrastructure firm about their proposal for a Hills railway line.
Yeah.
And when you're saying promising them, do you mean the voters or do you mean the independents?
There's one person promising. There's one voter in that seat that they're really aiming the promise.
But that's the scenario for the Liberals is the polls are wrong.
Yeah.
And or the campaign of the last week has pulled the pendulum back to a position where they can claw their way to a minority government, and they will then somehow cobble together a deal. I can't see them forming majority government, but their best case scenario is that they do save the furniture. They're able to negotiate with Troy Bell, Dan Cregan et al. And who knows, might be another new independent bobbing up, and then somehow continue as a minority government. That's I think the best case scenario.
Can I just quickly get your thoughts on the demeanour of the 2 leaders, Matt? Because one thing that really struck me watching the debate last night was Peter Malinauskas was sort of on the balls of his feet, and clearly he had a great day yesterday, waking up to that Tizer front page with a huge family photo and that poll. But Stephen Marshall, to me, and he's got a good economic story to tell, but it almost looked like there was not a haughtiness, but an almost like a sort of a visible sense of disbelief or exhaustion on his face, as if to say, far out, what's a bloke got to do to get re-elected around here? I mean, this government has not been mired in scandal.
Well, it's lost a lot of its own members, like Conservatives. It's
been profoundly careless when it comes to keeping everyone in the tent.
Well, it has, and you've had the
but I'm not talking
MPs
about
allowances.
Like child protection scandals or things like that.
I agree.
Real hardcore. I mean, some people might say ramping has been scandalous. I mean, certainly the increase in the rate of it. But
do you know the ramping thing and the Ambos campaign? I was talking to a young mum who isn't a Labor voter, isn't a Liberal voter, takes a view that they change every 4 years anyway. And so you give one a go, you give the other go. But she said to me, this is real. What if I'm out and something happens to my 2-year-old or something like that? They fall over or fall off a swing or whatever, and an ambulance doesn't come. And I thought, wow, that came. That to me was. I wouldn't be thinking of that. Maybe I should probably need an ambulance for packer whackers if I fell off a swing. But it has been a very effective, powerful campaign. And the story in the Australian today, there's 2 stories that caught my interest. One is yours on the Christian vote in the upper house, and that the Xenophon vote hasn't gone back hugely. It has gone to the Christians, and largely, we have this big, I hate to use the word Bible Belt, but let's use that in the northeastern suburbs. So I would be expecting at least a family first, Tom Kenyon maybe Bob Day to get seats in the upper house if that carries through.
Or at the very least to take 3-4% off the Libs.
Yeah.
That's the real problem.
Yes. The other story was that Peter Malinauskas, when that Tizer poll came out, immediately organised a Zoom meeting with all his shadow cabinet and all his candidates and read them the Riot Act, said, this isn't over yet, okay? We've got to, I don't want anyone putting their oars down here. We've got to keep going as though we're in a losing position. We've got to just hammer this. And I asked myself, I thought, wow, okay. What did Stephen Marshall do with those polls? Did Stephen Marshall organise a Zoom meeting of his cabinet and all his candidates and read them the Riot Act and say, let's not give up. It's just a poll. We can do this. I want a maximum effort. Now, he may have. I didn't read about it, but he may have.
Don't think he did.
I don't think he did. And, so Malinauskas has got an incredible energy, but also amazing focus. So you probably say that's why in this campaign they're in front.
It's a good point. We perhaps discount just the simple personality thing of it as well. And you said, David, well, where's the big crisis been? Where's the economy in ruin? It's not. I think a big part of this that goes unreported, because I bet it's a way a lot of people probably cast their vote. Peter Malinauskas is a star candidate. Well, he stands next to Stephen Marshall at that debate, and he seems warm. He seems genuine. He somehow manages to articulate points that are very political without sounding like it. It's like watching the footy last night. How much of it is Melbourne with a great game plan, and how much of it is just Christian Petrarca had 38 touches and kicked 2 goals, right? It's kind of every game plan works when you've got that guy. I actually think increasingly over the course of this last 4 years, it's looked like Peter Malinauskas is just that guy. And there's been just enough wrong with the government for people to go, I just like the other bloke. I really like him. I think so much of this is just he is the right guy at the right time.
Well, the crowd reaction last night of those undecided voters.
It's unbelievable.
And then at the end of it, you got Chris Kenny, who worked for years for Alexander Downer. I mean, you wouldn't accuse Chris of being a later tragic.
And John Olsen. Chris Kenny worked for John Olsen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Lavishing praise on Malinauskas.
Yeah.
Like almost fanboying him. He said, Peter Malinauskas is the bloke Anthony Albanese wants to be. Which is a good line, I thought.
It is a good line.
You talk about Tizer front page and of the beautiful photo of him with his young family, his wife. This is Peter Malinauskas. And for those who think, it's biased, well, they did a similar beautiful photo of Stephen Marshall a few days before, so about a week before. So there's balance there. But Peter Malinauskas does present, he's got the 3 children, he's got wife, his story, he got that out very early. Stephen Marshall, and I don't think you're allowed to ask him, I don't think it's fair, but I do think it's fair we ask about it, is, does he have a partner? Is in many ways his private life, and we can call it private, but he's there, he's got 2 beautiful children, he's obviously got, very supportive mum and sisters and all that sort of stuff, so that's his family unit, but, I think there's a lot people like to know about their leaders.
I spoke to one of his really good friends last week, Rosalie Rotolo, incredibly successful businesswoman who's a real food pioneer, and she was talking quite candidly about how when Mr. Marshall's marriage broke down, he was the one who brought up his 2 kids and how utterly devoted he is and what a great father he is and all of that. But it's one of those things, I mean, I noticed the other day driving around town and the Lucy Hood poster, it's the only poster I've seen that's got her husband and their 2 children in it. And I was thinking, well, that's their call, that's fine, but some people in politics choose to put the family bit out there, others don't, and I think Marshall's just in that latter category. But
all right, should we rate some spin?
Yes.
Do it.
5 out of 10 every time.
Now, this is, as you know, there are posters everywhere, and people do silly things like draw on moustaches usually on them, or much worse, but usually moustaches on. And so the Greens candidate in Unley, Georgia Hart, somebody got to her poster with texters, and they also changed the H in Hart. They put an F.
Classic humour. Now,
she did a little video, and what she did was she drew on her actual face what people had drawn on the poster. So she drew a moustache, big eyebrows, a monobrow and all that sort of stuff. But she also, as you'll hear here, changed her name.
Hi, I'm Georgie Fart, and I'm the Greens candidate for Unley, and I'm here to talk to you about natural gas. Not that type of gas. Natural gas, like natural coal, is a dangerous fossil fuel. And if we want a future for our children here on this planet, we need to be transitioning away from fossil fuels.
Good on her.
Good on her, I know.
She's got the best publicity of any Greens candidate in the whole state.
Exactly. At last, an interesting Greens candidate. I'll give Georgia 10 out of 10.
Best bit of spin of the campaign. Or worse. We don't know. Matt, great to have you in. We'll look forward to...
Thank you so much, Matt. The coverage,
dissecting the fallout.
particularly going the double for the last fortnight.
Yeah, absolutely.
When there's an election on, we take it seriously here at 5AA, but having your analysis, mate, has been invaluable to our program.
Pleasure.
Listeners love it.
It's what we love doing.
Thanks again for the crabs. I'll give
Just
you that
bring my
recipe.
bucket back.
Your local Mitre 10.
Yeah, I will. Sorry.
It's where you can buy him a new one if you've lost it. Friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10. Time to check traffic. John Blake next.
Thanks, Will. At 2 Well, smash on Old Port Wakefield Road between a car and motorcycle. Old Port Wakefield Road is closed at Hayman Road. Torrens Park, urgent sewer works there at the moment. Belair Road near Princess Road, that is causing a few delays for the drive-in. And look out for a burst water main at Northfield. Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road, that's down to one lane both directions. Cameras, Montague Road, Cavan, Robinson Road, Waterloo Corner. Need new flooring, blinds or rugs? Earn double Qantas points at Carpet Court. That's across all carpet, hard flooring, blinds and rugs. Double Qantas points on now at Carpet Court. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 2022 state election is here, and 5AA is keeping you informed.
Building a stronger future for South Australia.
Join David and Will Saturday nights for up-to-the-minute updates as the numbers roll in. We'll keep you informed during our live coverage of the Power Lions clash, followed by rolling election coverage right through until midnight.
I'm making the promises I know I can deliver.
The 2022 state election with David and Will, Saturday night on Adelaide's 5AA.
1 in 6 Australians has arthritis. That's almost 4 million people with a lot of questions.
Should I be taking fish oil? How do I manage this pain?
That's why Arthritis Australia has established the Arthritis Info Line, a toll-free number where trained local staff can answer your questions, provide support and help you manage your arthritis. The free Arthritis Info Line, 1800 011 041, or go to arthritisaustralia.com.au for more information.
Every day, they tell you their news is local. And every day, they bring you news made in Sydney. Watch the news you can trust. Adelaide's 7 News, made right here, mornings, afternoons, and 6 p.m. every night.
Now, you'll know that I love my local Mitre 10. I'll probably be in there over the weekend buying a new crab bucket for Matt Abraham. It's my one-stop shop for all my DIY jobs, whether it's something indoors that needs to be fixed or out in the garden. They're sure to have everything you need, and the staff are great. They'll happily give you advice on the best products to help you get all those jobs done.
So if you're planning some home improvements or you have some fix-it jobs to do, you just want to spruce things up a bit around the home or in the garden, head into your local mighty helpful Mitre 10, where you can shop in-store or use their click and collect option to order online, with most stores having delivery options available too.
So for great prices on the right products for the job, along with helpful advice, choose Mighty Helpful Mitre 10. Quality brands at great prices.
Don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift.
When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability. Get world-leading safety and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage for sales, service and hire.
Get a Toyota forklift.
Fuel your thinking with The Australian today. To spark an idea, to ignite a passion, to form your point of view, you need fuel for thought. The Australian, for the informed Australian.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
2 minutes to wait. It's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
The Office of the Premier of South Australia.
The Honourable Stephen Marshall.
Yes, Julian.
Good morning, Premier.
Oh,
Would you like a cup of tea?
I'll stop blubbering.
Would you like one of the last cups of tea?
Oh, shut up. Yes, please.
I'll bring it in if I can see through my tears.
Oh.
Tea lady!
Oh, Julian, stop it. It was a poll of 800 people.
835, actually.
Yeah, not exactly a huge sample.
But the headlines! The headlines!
Oh, listen, they'll print whatever they think is sensational a week before the election. It means nothing.
But they're all saying you're going to lose!
Of course they are, but look, they polled 835 people, Julian. 57% of them said they'd vote Labor. That's 442 people. 47% said they'd vote for us, and that's 392 people.
Oh!
That's a fairly slim margin. Look, if they polled only 50 people, that would be 26.5 people for Labor and 23.5 people for us.
Oh, that sounds better.
Yes, and if they polled 5 people, that would be 2.65 of them said Labor and 2.35 of them said Liberal.
Oh, that's not much.
No, in other words, the margin out of 5 people would have been 0.3 of one person.
Oh, we can still win that.
Of course. Now stop being a baby and go and do some work, because when we get back in, we're going to have to hit the ground running.
Yes, all right. I love it when you give me your little pep talks. It's a very liberally thing to do.
Yeah, all right, just be confident.
Yes, I will.
That's the spirit. See you.
Bye.
Oh, God, what are we going to do?
The 5AA News on the way. Our election wrap coming up with Peter Malinauskas. Tom Duday will join us. And then after 8:30, we're talking all things Elvis.
Less than 1 week remains until the absolute final deadline in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Don't miss your chance to live mortgage-free in a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home in Somerton Park, with $500,000 to spend on whatever you want. Plus, you're entered into more than 15,000 prize draws. Join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care by purchasing your tickets today at homelottery.com.au. Licence M141133.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny, 29 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
The would-be treasurer will be front and centre in the state election campaign today. Labor's Stephen Mulligan will unveil their financial blueprint for the next 4 years, should they win this Saturday.
I'd say Labor will be releasing our election policy costings. Unlike the government, Labor's election costings have been independently assessed and show that the Liberal scare campaign about Labor's spending is completely debunked.
The Libs released their election policy costings at the start of the week. The who's who in Australian cricket is expected to be at Adelaide Oval today for Rod Marsh's funeral. The service at 11:30 will also be live streamed. The 74-year-old passed away earlier this month from a heart attack. Russian forces have reportedly bombed a theatre in the Ukrainian city of Mariupol, where hundreds of civilians are sheltering. Meantime, the US has unveiled an extra $800 million in military aid for Ukraine. The package consists of anti-tank missiles and other weapons to help the country withstand air attacks from Russia. President Joe Biden says the package will provide unprecedented assistance.
And at the request of President Zelensky, we have identified and are helping Ukraine acquire additional longer-range anti-aircraft systems and the munitions for those systems. Our new assistance package also includes 9,000 anti-armor systems.
A magnitude 7.3 earthquake has struck northeastern Japan. The Japanese government is still assessing the extent of the damage. Media reports say multiple people were injured by falling objects and at least one person has died. There have been more long lines at COVID testing sites across Adelaide in the past 24 hours. 3,122 new infections were reported yesterday. There are 136 people in hospital in SA, 10 in ICU and 2 on ventilators. There are calls for pharmacists to be paid the same rate as other medical professionals. The Pharmaceutical Society of Australia claims they're often paid less for the same service, such as administering the COVID vaccine. Board Director Caroline Demantis says workers deserve recognition this Thank Your Pharmacist Day.
We are diagnosing or we are determining an issue for a child or for an adult who may feel unwell and is seeking that advice. And if we choose to refer to a doctor or we choose to give advice which is not involving a sale, we've actually provided that service for free.
Choice is joining consumer groups overseas in calling for increased regulation of buy now, pay later schemes. They want stronger laws to cap fees and charges and limited unsolicited marketing. Chief Executive Alan Kirkland says these services can leave customers worse off.
Lenders aren't required to check whether you can afford to repay a debt before they lend you money. And it also means that if something goes wrong down the track, if you're in financial hardship, they don't have to allow you to complain to an independent ombudsman. So you've got very few rights.
And it's all about the Emerald Isle today. There'll be St Patrick's Day celebrations across Adelaide. It will be an all-day affair at Mick O'Shea's, south of the city, while the Gov is hosting the Big Irish Festival from 6 tonight. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Is that a Guinness? No, just a coffee, Tom Reed.
Yeah, well, coffee now, but Guinness maybe the next hour.
Yeah.
Let's start with footy, Mel. The AFL season got underway last night with Melbourne 26-point winners against the Bulldogs in their grand final rematch. Tonight, Carlton takes on Richmond again at the MCG. Port Adelaide will play against Brisbane at the Gabba on Saturday night, and the Power players will train today, while the Crows will have a quiet day ahead of Sunday's season opener against Fremantle at Adelaide Oval. Crows defender Brodie Smith telling Rowie he can't wait to see both debutants, including Josh Rochelle, who's been one of the standouts in the pre-season.
So as long as he's chasing and then tackling, hopefully there's a couple of bonus goals on the end of that for us. And then Solly's just a really honest player. He'll work his absolute guts out for us, does the hard stuff. He's really tough. So yeah, they deserve the opportunity 100% and can't wait to play with them.
Australia's been frustrated on the final day of the second test against Pakistan in Karachi. The home side finished at 7 for 443 with captain Babar Azam top scoring with 196, while Nathan Lyon was the best of the bowlers taking 4 wickets. The third and deciding test starts on Monday. Adelaide United has gone down 2-1 in its A-League clash against the Western Sydney Wanderers overnight. Meantime, it's full-time in one EPL match this morning, with Tottenham 2-0 winners against Brighton. There's about half hour to play in the other match, with Liverpool now 2-0 up against Arsenal. And there's about 20 minutes to play in European Champions League action. Chelsea's now 2-1 up against Lille, while Juventus and Villarreal are still all square at 0-0. And for the second straight day, a player has hit the magical 60-point barrier, with Brooklyn's Kyrie Irving hitting 60 points, along with 6 rebounds and 4 assists in the Nets' 42-point thrashing of Orlando. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Had to well smash on Old Port Wakefield Road between a car and motorcycle. Old Port Wakefield Road is closed at Hayman Road. Torrens Park, urgent sewer works there. Belair Road near Princess Road and burst water main at Northfield. Grange Junction Road near Hampstead Road, down to one lane both directions. Cameras this morning, Bolivar Road, Burton, Gorge Road, Cudley Creek, Main Street, Loberthal. Get $20 off at Coles when you spend $250 or more online. Ends March 22. Head to coles.com.au and use promo code SAVE20. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast, mostly sunny 29 today, cloud clearing tomorrow 29 and Saturday mostly sunny 32 degrees. Right now it's 18. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they're offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. We're having a massive short sharp sale right now. Save at least 25% store-wide. Save hundreds on sofas, chairs, dining and more, including our great Australian-made brands. Blink and you'll miss it. It's the Berkowitz Short Sharp Sale. Save at least 25% on RRP. We're not just a furniture store, we're an Aussie furniture family. Mile End Homemaker Centre, sale ends Sunday.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 8. Crows fans, Tom Duday coming up very shortly for the first time in season at 2022. Orazio Fantasia on the program tomorrow, but footy season in full swing. Looking forward to chatting with the dude shortly. Elvis, if you're an Elvis fan, call in and speak to us after 8:30. We're going to have a chat with the curator of an exhibition that generally takes place in Memphis, in Nashville. It's going to take place in Bendigo in Victoria from this weekend. So if you're an Elvis fan, this is going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I expect there's going to be a pilgrimage to see this once that opens up. Be here for 3 months, and we'll get into that after 8:30. But first, it's time for the election wrap.
SA decides. Election at 8.
Well, our listeners will recall that we made a decision to turn this segment over once during the election campaign to the Premier and once during the election campaign to his opponent, Labor leader Peter Malinauskas, who joins us in the studio this morning. Peter Malinauskas, good morning and thanks for your time.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will.
Now, look, can I start with what the Liberals say, and certainly some of our listeners say, is regarded as the weakness of your campaign? Has Labor found a magic money tree?
No, of course not. There's no such thing.
Why haven't you released your costings yet? And what time are you going to be releasing the costings today?
This morning. We're doing it this morning. We've got a press conference. I'm looking at my phone here to look at the exact time. The press conference is at 12:30 today, and we'll be making clear all of our costings, which have been independently verified, which is something I don't believe the government has done. And if they have, we haven't seen any evidence of that. But we'll be releasing the entirety of our position. But I keep reminding South Australians, and for that matter the Liberal Party, we've already made it clear about how we're funding the biggest element of our commitments, which is the capital infrastructure in health. And that's by not proceeding with the $662 million basketball stadium now, or Riverbank Arena, or however you want to call it. And you can actually do a lot with $662 million. If you look at all the money that we've spent in health, in capital, over the course of the forward estimates, is essentially all being funded by not proceeding with the Riverbank Arena. So that takes us a long way there. But in terms of the full impact on the budget, people will see that when we release our numbers today. In terms of the numbers that are already out there on the public record, and because every single policy we've announced, we've made it crystal clear how much it's going to cost. It is well less than the amount that Rob Lucas and Stephen Marshall took to their first budget in 2018-19.
Which was, what, about $3.3 million?
$3.3 billion.
Well, Rob Lucas is saying this morning you're up to about $4 billion.
Well, of course he is. Of course he is. That is completely untrue. That is completely untrue. And it just strikes me, it's just over $3 billion, to answer the question, which is less than that $3.3 billion figure. But Rob Lucas's actions, this is the guy that's retiring in how many hours? 72 hours, have become increasingly desperate throughout the course of the campaign. And in a way, it's just served as a reminder that Stephen Marshall's not being honest with South Australians about his costings, because he won't tell people who's going to deliver them after the election if he wins. In fact, it's now so farcical, Stephen Marshall can't tell us who the Attorney General is, can't tell us who the Treasurer will be, and now we've got speculation within the Liberal Party that they might even knife Stephen Marshall if they're successful on the weekend.
All right, what's the final independently vetted cost of the hydrogen plant?
$593 million.
About the same as the arena.
bit short of it, but yes, $593 million.
So is it sort of a false economy to be saying that by not doing the arena, you've got all this money freed up in health, when you've got on an almost identical spending commitment elsewhere?
Well, that'll be funded out of our capital budget, and all of that will be on the budget impact today. But the reason why we're so determined on the hydrogen program is because we see it as an extraordinary industrial, economic and jobs opportunity for our state. We know that Queensland's moving at light speed to try and capture first move advantage in hydrogen industry. I don't want to miss out on that opportunity for our state, and that's why we've got a policy to achieve it. The thing with hydrogen, Will and Dave, if I'm utterly honest with you, is that it's a difficult policy for people to get their heads around because it's complicated. You talk to people on the street about hydrogen, and South Australians will be utterly forgiven for not spending time understanding the economics or the science that underpins hydrogen. But to put it simply, this is literally going to be the fuel of the future. Investment is happening to the tune of billions of dollars globally. Germany recently announced a €6 billion hydrogen strategy. We know that Japan and Korea are desperate to start to import hydrogen, and we've got an opportunity to produce it here at one of the cheapest rates anywhere in the world, which means it'll be a globally competitive product.
Are you worried, Peter Malinauskas, by the perception that you have the election already in the bag?
Absolutely.
What worries you about that?
Because it's just not true. Because polls are precarious. We know they've got a pretty good track record of being wrong. And the only people that get to decide the outcome for the future of our state is people. Like, no poll is going to fix the ramping crisis. The only way to fix the ramping crisis is for people to vote for a party with a plan to address it on Saturday. And that's people. So I as soon as that poll came out, I arranged a caucus meeting of all of our MPs, and then we added in our candidates via Microsoft Teams, and I made it abundantly clear that this is to be totally ignored. We're going to campaign right till the close of ballots on 6 p.m. on Saturday. We don't take anything for granted because there's nothing to take for granted. We haven't won a thing yet, and we've just got to focus on what our policy is, sending that message out to South Australians so they can make an informed choice, and it'll be up to them.
4 years ago, if we were talking to you, perhaps not this week, perhaps a couple of weeks back, you would have been the health minister. You're running now on at that time, the Marshall-led opposition were campaigning heavily about ramping being in crisis.
Yeah.
They won the election. You're on the cusp of potentially winning the election if the polls running on the same issue. What did you learn in opposition that you didn't know in government?
So there's a few things there, Will. The first thing is that, yes...
Don't do anything Jack Snelling told you to do, maybe.
Yeah, that's a very good start. So for about... for the 4 or 5 months before the election, I was the health minister. So I became the health minister very late in the piece, as you know, and maybe some of your listeners are familiar with. And when I became health minister, there was a very substantial task before us. The RA had just opened, and there had been the Transforming Health Policy, and I started to unpick it in quite a substantial way. But what struck me first and foremost is that there is work to be done in reforming the health system to make it more efficient. But the simple fact is we need more capacity. Now, the NRA had come online, and just to bust one of the biggest urban myths in our state, the new Royal Adelaide Hospital is a lot bigger than the old Royal Adelaide Hospital. It's got 120 extra beds in it. But ultimately, our system needs more capacity because we've got an ageing population and a growing population. And we've got to do the efficiency piece. We've got to do the productivity piece. But ultimately, we need more capacity. And that's why I'm going to this election with a plan to deliver more capacity. But the big one that struck me in that 5 months that I was minister was mental health. We need a big investment in mental health services because there are a lot of people in emergency departments with mental health issues and they're just not being addressed. They're being sometimes stuck there for days. They shouldn't be in an ED. They should be in an appropriate setting. And that is why it's such a fundamental part of our plan to increase capacity.
Well, we'll know the result Saturday night, probably, possibly.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Obviously, a lot of people were voting early because of COVID. And like I said, this election, everything about it is unprecedented, isn't it? I mean, we've got a COVID election against a government that was in charge during the course of COVID. No government has changed since the pandemic. Changing first-term governments is rare, so our task historically and on paper is really big. That's, like I said, we take nothing for granted. But I will say this, people have asked me, are you confident about the result on the weekend? My only answer to that is I don't know what the outcome is going to be on the weekend, but I do genuinely believe that I and my team, which is a united, fresh team, have done everything we possibly can to give ourselves the best chance of forming a new government. And I'm really at ease and comfortable with putting our future in the hands of South Australians, and give South Australians complete and utter faith that they'll make the right decision for the long-term future of our state.
Peter Malinauskas, Leader of the Opposition, will know the result within the next few days. Thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Really appreciate it, fellas. Cheers.
18 minutes after 8, time to check traffic, and very shortly from the Adelaide Football Club, Tom Duday.
Thanks, Will. Add to Will. Smash on Old Port Wakefield Road between a car and a motorcycle. Old Port Wakefield Road is closed at Hayman Road. Urgent sewer works at Torrens Park. That's Belair Road near Princess Road, causing a few delays on the drive in. And got a burst water main this morning at Northfield, Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road. Busy this morning, Southern Expressway to Ailifs Road as you're heading into town. And got cameras Bolivar Road, Burton, Main Street, Lobethal. The Volvo XC40 has the drive to keep winning 2022 Drive Car of the Year, Best Small Luxury SUV. Judge for yourself at your local Volvo dealer. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Roey's Sports Show.
SMA has a new boss. It's Nick Addison. He's from the VRC. He joins us now. Nick, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Roey.
A couple of just minor requests myself. We want the KG Media Centre. It's not named, and I think while we've got the great KG around and kicking, I think we need to name it the KG Media Centre.
4 p.m. weekdays.
I am familiar with KG over in Victoria, and I'll follow that one through with the team in due course when I'm on board.
Roey's Sports Show on 5AA.
Introducing the Drive Car of the Year, the all-new Kia Sportage. Awarded for its new petrol turbo engine that gives you progressive performance. The Kia Sportage has a boldly sculpted sportsback design and soft touch leather interior, making it a natural leader. Kia Sportage, the Drive Car of the Year. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or visit your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires. If you want to build a new home, something that reflects you and your lifestyle, speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. For inspiration, visit the stunning Beechwood Homes display home in Blackwood Park.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Check out National Tiles' all-new Italian and Spanish floor tiles on our website now. Your new home or renovation will look absolutely stunning in any one of the 25 all-new European floor tiles. Currently available for immediate delivery, but you'll have to be quick. These all-new stunning European floor tiles are walking out the door. So rush to order online or in-store at National Tiles now.
Maggie Beer here. Getting more milk, cheese and yogurt can decrease your risk of a hip fracture in old age by 46%. That's why I feel so unstoppable.
Discover how dairy can make all the difference at dairy.com.au/unstoppable.
The Jarmer's name is synonymous with incredible food, so it's no surprise that people are loving Jarmer's Kitchen, a light-filled casual eatery reimagined inside an old pub at Bowden near the underpass.
It really is an absolutely sensational spot. The food is amazing, the setting is superb. Third-generation chef Chris Jarmer, great bloke, has made it so affordable to enjoy a great day or night out with family and friends in a warm and inviting setting.
And what a location too. Could not be better placed as you go to for a meal before or after an AFL game at Adelaide Oval. If you're going to an A-League game at Highmarsh, it's even better actually. You can go to an NBL game at the Entertainment Centre. That's actually even better again. That's walking distance. It's just perfect.
You know, it's actually one of those very rare restaurants that ticks every box. Like you could go there for a family weeknight feed. You could go there for a romantic meal. You can go there as we have for work lunches. You can hold events there. It's got everything. And look, once you've booked your tickets, book a table at Jarmer's Kitchen. Jump onto jarmerskitchen.com.au, Facebook or Instagram. Jarmer's Kitchen, fancy made easy.
If your business could do with more business, you should try advertising here on the radio. 5AA can help turn your brand into a household name. We could do it with a jingle. or a really funny ad, or something deadly serious. Our audience is big enough to fill Adelaide Oval again and again. Get in touch with FIVEaa to find out how we can give your business more business.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Not 3 times on the ceiling if you want.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes after 8, we've got some wonderfully generous listeners. Naomi Will, who runs Naomi Will Real Estate, every single time we do a call out for businesses and others to get behind charities and support them, she's one of the first people through with a giant donation. Today she's rung into the program. She's got 4 tickets to Hans's show at the Fringe that's on tonight. She can't go and said just wants a 5AA listener and friends to go along. So if you're the first caller through right now at a loose end for what to do tonight, Thursday night, the weather's going to be good, and you want to go to the Thebby Theatre as part of this Fringe to see the show, be first caller through right now. We'll give it to you.
How good's that?
You and 3 friends, thanks to Naomi Will. 82230055 is the number.
Hey, just speaking of people who are very giving, if anybody feels like giving today, I just want to stress that in memory of the late, great Rod Marsh, the family has asked for donations to be made to Diabetes SA. You can just go to the Diabetes SA website and check that out.
Good one. All right, let's check the fuel situation. Thanks to the MyRAA app, the best place to find cheap fuel on the planet. You can save 4 cents a litre with it as well, so you get it cheaper than anywhere and for anyone else. The United Main North Road Paraka, $2.06.7. We should start giving it some context. So it's come below. So cheap places you'll find it under $2.10 right now. So that's pretty good. The United Main North Road Paraka being best, $2.06.7. The Mogas McGill Road McGill, $2.09.9. The Southern Cross Grange Road Fulham Gardens, $2.14.9. The cheapest diesel we could find was at the Ampol Cross Keys Road at Cavan, $2.08.9 for diesel. It's a good cheap one you get this morning.
Cheap. $2.08.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's all relative.
Real bargain.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's like a cheap house these days. Could buy you a suburb once upon a time. Hey, congrats to Bob. First caller through. You're off to see Hans tonight, thanks to the wonderfully generous Naomi Will. Should we do some texts?
One here from Shannon. Actually, Shannon, this is quite a prescient text because it's exactly what someone in the Labor Party told me the other day their own research shows. Morning, David and Will. I am not fussed about big election spending, provided it is on things like health. Stephen Marshall should have dumped the stadium and he would have won easily. That, in a nutshell, Shannon, is exactly what the research that the Labor Party is using is showing, that every time the Libs whack them over you're spending too much money, they just turn around and say, well, we're not spending it on a basketball stadium. And I say that as someone, I actually think it's a real missed opportunity. I think it would be bloody great if Adelaide had a brand new entertainment centre. And I think that the way Labor's been able to get away with the scare campaign about it is just politics at its crudest. But, you know,
especially when by his own admission, Peter Malaskis said, no one, you can ask anyone to explain what the benefits of the hydrogen plant are that cost the same amount, and no one knows.
Yeah.
The difference between the two was the effectiveness of the campaign that's been critical.
Yeah. Quite a few people picking up on Mr. Malinowskis's past, both as a health minister and also as a union boss. One here just simply says, Union puppet will march to the beat of their drum along with his union-dominated government. And Andrew here specifically saying, we had a high-quality mental health facility here. It was called Glenside Hospital, another substantial government service that has been dismantled. So comments showing that the Labor leader is still on the run to an extent from his past and from Labor's past.
Well, he dismissed it out of hand, didn't he? When you asked him about transforming health and Jack Snelling. Couldn't have been more clear.
Yeah. Marshall had some good points about that in the debate last night, but the problem is that clearly the crowd's they're all sitting there staring lovingly at Peter Malinowskis.
It's 27 minutes after 8. Tom Duday will join us after the news at 8:30. We're going to be chatting with the dude for the first time this season, so stick around for that, Crows fans. Looking forward very much to talking to the dude and to talking about the King, Elvis. That's next.
Less than 1 week remains until the absolute final deadline in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Don't miss your chance to live mortgage-free in a fully furnished Scott Salisbury home in Somerton Park with $500,000 to spend on whatever you want. Plus, you're entered into more than 15,000 prize draws. Join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care by purchasing your tickets today at homelottery.com.au.
Licence M141133.
Every day, they tell you their news is local. And every day, they bring you news made in Sydney. Watch the news you can trust. Adelaide's 7 News, made right here. Mornings, afternoons, and 6 p.m. every night.
The state election is this Saturday, and polling booths are open between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. When you go to vote, remember to wear a mask and bring your EasyVote card. Not sure how to find your nearest polling booth? Just check the back of your EasyVote card, or you can use the polling booth finder on the MySA Gov app, or visit ecsa.sa.gov.au. Your vote, your voice. Authorised by M. Sherry, Electoral Commissioner.
Hi, I'm Victoria from The Family Cook. I'm passionate about cooking wholesome, fresh and delicious meals. We're the only meal delivery service based in South Australia using hand-selected premium ingredients such as free-range chicken, grass-fed beef, Australian fish and locally sourced vegetables and herbs. Our customers love it, and I can guarantee you'll love it too. And we're proudly an NDIS provider. Jump on board thefamilycook.com.au.
Everyone has the right to age well and be treated with dignity and respect. ARIS, Aged Rights Advocacy Service, is a free, confidential and culturally safe service for people living in residential aged care, retirement villages or receiving aged care support at home. We can help you access aged care services, understand and exercise your rights and stop and prevent elder abuse. Google ARIS, ARAS, supporting the rights of older people. ARIS is funded by the Australian Government.
Cole? Yeah? Look in there. People are having fun.
Yeah, sitting in and standing.
Oh, it's a pub, mate.
What about that mob drinking pints? Standing.
Standing?
Standing.
Restrictions in pubs have eased. What are you waiting for? We're masked. QR'd. I'm going inside to stand with a pint for my mates in my pub.
I'm with you, great man. I'm tearing up.
It's time we had some fun at the pub. A message from the AHASA.
March is Epilepsy Awareness Month, Purple Month. Over 60,000 people in SA live with epilepsy today. The Epilepsy Centre in SA trains people, families, schools and workplaces on total seizures first aid for the 52 different types of epilepsy. A 2016 Flinders University study concluded that training and education significantly reduces cost to the health system. Our health does come first. Go to epilepsycentre.org.au for more information.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Mostly sunny 29 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
Labor will finally release its policy costings today ahead of Saturday's state election. Leader Peter Malinaskis has told David and Will they've been independently verified.
We've already made it clear about how we're funding the biggest element of our commitments, which is the capital infrastructure in health. And that's by not proceeding with the $662 million basketball stadium or Riverbank Arena or however you want to call it. And you can actually do a lot with $662 million.
He's also confirmed Labor's promised hydrogen plant will cost $593 million, which will be funded out of the capital budget. A routine traffic stop has ended in a drug, weapon and ID bust. Patrols pulled over a car in Gawler Place around 2 a.m. A search of the vehicle allegedly uncovered 2 knives, prescription medication, cannabis and a USB containing hundreds of scanned images of other people's personal identification. The 38-year-old Campbelltown man has been charged and bailed to front court in May. Police are investigating a crash at 2 wells this morning. They were called to the intersection of Old Port Wakefield and Hayman Roads just before 6 a.m. after a car collided with a trail bike. The rider, a 35-year-old man, was taken to the Lyle McEwen for treatment. The driver of the car was not injured. Old Port Wakefield Road was blocked for several hours but is now reopened. There'll be a private funeral for cricket great Rod Marsh in Adelaide today. Michaela Kamarick has more.
Family, friends and teammates of the former Test wicketkeeper will gather at Adelaide Oval to pay their respects. A private service will be held in the McGarry Room from 11:30 this morning. The public can watch the service from the southern stands at Adelaide Oval on the big screen or online. In lieu of flowers, the Marsh family is asking mourners to donate to a Diabetes SA Memorial Fund. 74-year-old Marsh died in the Royal Adelaide earlier this month after suffering a major heart attack. WA has offered his family a state funeral.
US President Joe Biden has answered Ukraine's request for further assistance, announcing another $800 million in military aid. The announcement comes in response to an impassioned call from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to US Congress, in a rare appearance by an Eastern European leader.
The Ukrainian people are defending not only Ukraine, we are fighting for the values of Europe and the world. That's why today the American people are helping not just Ukraine, but Europe and the world to keep the planet alive.
The package does not include support for a no-fly zone over Ukraine, a decision backed by NATO. The cost of prostheses will come down by around $900 million a year as a result of a new deal with the federal government. Michael Packey reports.
For many years, private health insurers have been asking for the cost of medical devices like artificial arms and legs to be brought down, but manufacturers have been reluctant to get on board. Medical devices supplied in the private system are on average 17% more expensive than those in the public sector. Under a new arrangement between manufacturers and the federal government, costs will be reduced. It's hoped this will flow to lower private health insurance premiums, saving households around $50 a year.
And New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet and his wife have welcomed their 7th child. It's a baby girl called Celeste. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Check out Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Timber Look Native Series sectional doors. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. In the AFL last night, Melbourne has defeated the Western Bulldogs by 26 points. But the real drama occurred when Dogs coach Luke Beveridge walked out of his post-match media conference after ranting at a journalist for publishing leaks from within his own club. Beveridge was upset about the way Fox Sports journalist Tom Morris has been revealing team details, whilst at the same time admitting the information came from within his own ranks.
We've got to look after our own, and then you cause all this muckraking trash that happens behind the scenes, and names get brought up into it, and all we're doing is planning for a football game. I can't. Are you proud of yourself?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're proud of yourself?
Yeah, Fox backs me.
Wow.
And to be honest,
no, that's enough. That's enough. Next question, please.
Australian Test cricket captain Pat Cummins is standing by his tactics despite finishing with a draw in the second Test against Pakistan. The skipper raised some eyebrows when deciding to bat into day 3 in Australia's first innings and deciding not to enforce the follow-on for the home side. Cummins says those calls gave them the best chance of taking 20 wickets.
Over here, the wickets are pretty good. We try and bat, 2.5 days on the best time of the wicket, hoping that it's going to break up on day 4 and 5, and held together pretty well. They batted well, so I think overall, happy.
Adelaide United has gone down 2-1 against the Western Sydney Wanderers in the A-League overnight. Meantime, in European Champions League action, Chelsea has progressed to the quarter-finals after a 2-1 win against Lille, but Juventus has been stunned at home. They've been knocked out after a 3-0 loss to Villarreal. And Nick Kyrgios is into the quarter-finals at the Indian Wells Tennis Masters after Yannick Sinner withdrew injured. Alex de Minaur, though, has gone down to Taylor Fritz in a third-set tiebreak. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Torrens Park, look out for urgent sewer works, Belair Road near Princess Road. Burst Watermain at Northfield, that's Grand Junction Road near Hampstead Road. Down the one lane both directions. And Elizabeth Works on Main North Road near Prince Charles Street. It's as you're heading outbound. Busy this morning, the Southern Expressway inbound to Ailofts Road. And we've got cameras Bolivar Road, Burton, Main Street, Lobethal. Celebrate Easter with Baker's Delight Hot Cross Buns. Baked fresh by real bakers every morning. Drop by your local Baker's Delight to pick up a Hot Cross Bun 6-pack today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
To the 5AA forecast, mostly sunny today 29, cloud clearing tomorrow 29, and Saturday mostly sunny 32 degrees. Right now it's 20. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Keep on running.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
One fine day don't want to make you understand. Oh yeah, I'm gonna
22 minutes to 9.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Oh, it feels good to have the intro back.
Yes.
Speaks to a good part of the year.
Footy.
Footy's back. Thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide. Tom Duday back on board, just days out from the Crows campaign kicking off. Dude, welcome back.
Thank you. It is an absolute pleasure. I did see you had John Howard on yesterday, so I'm sorry for this significant downgrade. But I personally am extremely excited to be back, and that intro music's got me all excited too.
Well, he's a big NRL fan. He's a St George's Dragons fan, so we didn't bother asking him for his thoughts about the footy season ahead.
Didn't have a big opinion on the Crows and how we're going to go this year, I guess.
No,
that might have been a curly one for him, I reckon.
Yeah. He's
pretty good, though.
He backs roughies. He reckons Stephen Marshall's going to win.
He's pretty good. I'll tell you what he would.
Maybe the Crows are a chance.
I'll tell you what he wouldn't do. The greatest political faux pas that's ever happened on our program, in interviewing all the leaders, prime ministers, and whatnot, ever was in the lead up to the 2017 grand final.
Oh,
we were in Melbourne doing
Turnbull.
the show. Adelaide Radio. Malcolm Turnbull's the prime minister. Idiot. Comes in with a Richmond scarf on.
Yeah, this is utterly tin-eared Sydney.
Yeah.
Sydney-centric view of the world. And he came in talking to us, two Adelaide blokes, who were there, clearly there, for the granny, and he comes in and he's like, "Hello, boys, I know you follow the national game of Australian rules football, so I thought I'd wear a scarf."
Yeah.
He wouldn't have even known who Richmond were.
No, he didn't. He couldn't find it on a map. He didn't know. He wouldn't have.
He was still holding the empty cellophane bag that the scarf came in as well.
Yeah,
it was just absurd.
Yeah, I like the arful.
Yeah, the arful.
I think
the flying jumping game.
Something like that. The flying jumping game is back last night. Did you watch last night? You watch games you're not involved in, aren't you?
No, I'm not a massive footy watcher,
Okay.
to be honest. I sort of enjoy movies a little bit more.
That's true.
But no, I missed the first half and then caught a fair bit of the third quarter, and yeah, it was good to have footy back. I know a lot of people are a bit different than me and love footy watching over the night time, especially after coming home from work or whatnot, and it was good to just see the G packed and footy being back.
To your point about the G being packed, I was watching it on the telly. I was jumping back and forth between the cricket, which I thought was just sensational test. But how nice is it? You hear the crowd, and then you look, and there's a crowd there.
Yeah,
it's not the old BBC sound effects record playing in the background. It's actual humans having a good time.
Yeah, well, I've been watching a fair bit of Premier League this year, and obviously NBA and NFL and stuff, and the crowd noise, like the artificial stuff, I mean, it was good at the time because everyone was locked in at home and you couldn't I don't know if it was good at the time, but it was sufficient. But then now you come to real crowd noise, and what we're going to have at Adelaide Oval, hopefully on Sunday, is going to be a raucous crew as well. So I suppose it makes football feel more like football rather than what it was in COVID and a little bit last year, which was that little bit like, it's just eerie when you don't have kick a big goal and all you hear is the blokes cheering and clapping each other and not like the crowd getting up and about.
It's nice that with the way the human mind works, we now realise how bad that was, because at the time you're going, oh well, at least we've got footy, and now you realise, how the hell did we do that? That was terrible. It's going to be back to normal. Can you deal with loud sounds and flashing lights at the moment? You've had a couple of concussion issues, or do you want us to dim things in here? How are you going?
I've forgotten what I just said, to be honest. So, I'm all good. I'm all sweet.
We wanted to give you
some tests if you want.
We wanted to give you a cinematic concussion test, Tom.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Who directed Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, no, that's Tarantino, so I'm all good. Yeah. If I forgot that one, that would officially be Panic Stations.
We would have dumped the audio, because it might have inhibited your ability to play this weekend.
Here's one. Which actor only ever appeared in movies that were nominated for Best Picture? And he died young.
Charlton Heston? Don't know.
John Cazale.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
did you study that before the show just because I was coming up?
I don't know.
Or is that just
Are you
off
right
the
to
top
play?
of the
Hey, speaking of names that power listeners might not be familiar with, you got three debutantes playing this weekend. Yep. We'll read a lot about their backgrounds and histories and what they've done football wise. You've spent an off season with Jordan Dawson, who's from Sydney, Josh Rochelle, Jake Saligo. Tell us something about each of these blokes that we might not already know.
I suppose Rochelle, the main one, probably been a little bit in the media is his soccer background, but I don't think people realise how good he is. We play soccer on some flush days when we're just trying to get the crap out of our legs, and he, after a game, and he is genuinely electric. Like, it's unbelievable to watch him play soccer. He honestly just takes the mickey with his rings around us. Jakey Saligo, He's got a bit of a sharp haircut. He's got the shaved sides and a little bit of a mullet kicking. And when he first got to the club, I sort of brought it up with him. Like, what are your thoughts on it? And it was a bit of a TBD. I'm just waiting to see how it feels, whether I play well with it, how the boys get around it.
Right.
And it's stuck for now 3-4 months. So
wow. Well, he's gotten picked.
And he's got picked.
He might have to wear it until he's 35 now.
Yeah, if he keeps playing, he's probably not going to get rid of it. He might win 3 Brownlows with it. And then Dorse. What have I got about Dorse? He's sort of a silent assassin. He come to the club. He looked a bit stoic in his photos. He was a bit quiet in presses and whatnot. And then he comes in and he starts taking the mickey out of the boys. And out on the track, he's absolutely ruthless. And that left peg, he can hit kicks from any angle, any distance. He's one of the most damaging ball users I've seen come through the club. So. There's just 3 little fun facts. They're mixed it up a little bit there, but I'm excited for all 3 of them. They've all put in the work. That's the main thing. From day one they got to the club. Dawes has obviously had a few interruptions recently, and then Rochelle and Jakey being pulled out of different trainings being first years, but all 3 of them have just come in, played our way, brought an incredible work ethic, and they're being rewarded for it.
Tom, we had a good long chat a couple of weeks ago when you were about to come out of ISO. You were up in the hills at an undisclosed location in quarantine on account of having COVID. What did the COVID count end up being for the players?
It was a few. We had obviously over the Christmas New Year's period, there was, with the borders opening up and boys going back to Victoria and whatnot, there was going to be cases, and we had a few there. I'm not sure how many it was exactly. It was a large chunk, and then
it was more than half the teams had it, though, isn't it?
More than half the teams had it in total. Yeah. So we had a few over Christmas.
Is it sort of good in a way that we've got out of the way?
Yeah. Well, I think so. You'd rather get it when I got it, or in Christmas New Year's, than round 1, 2 and miss. Yeah. Because then obviously with fitness wise, you're a chance to miss another game on top of that. But yeah, it's obviously you don't want to get it, but if there was an ideal time to get it and then get that immunity that comes with it, it was probably either 2 weeks ago or Christmas New Year's period.
11 days away from the Oscars. Have you managed to get across sort of the best picture category? Can you even watch them all at this point in time?
Have seen them all.
Them all?
Find a way. I'm not going to share my secrets.
Okay, you have though. Gee, that's good.
Maybe some streaming that might not be legal.
Yeah.
I
leave that for the courts to decide.
Yeah. I'll push that away. That was Penbo's fault. I'm massive on Coda. That's been my number 1 movie all of last year, and I would love to see that win just because it's different. It's sort of like an original story that we don't get as much anymore. Yeah. I think Power of the Dog wins just because that is an Oscar movie if I've ever seen it. I'd love maybe Dune, if Dune won, just because it's different and it's sort of like that's what's going to bring people watching the Oscars and get it back up again. But I think Power of the Dog's home and hosed, and I don't see anyone upsetting it, especially with the preferential ballot. It'll be 1 or 2 on everyone's thing, and that's how the voting works.
I didn't realise they've gone to the preferential system.
Yep. So
it's gotten complicated.
Basically, you don't have to be number 1. You don't have to be everyone's number 1. You just have to be 1 or 2, because then it cancels out the bottom voter, and then it's a complicated system. But I don't see anyone beating Power of the Dog.
Good stuff. Sounds like something for the election night coverage. Good luck for Sunday.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Good to have you back on board.
Good to see you, Tom.
Hopefully we see everyone there too.
In person as well.
Yes, in person. And hopefully we see everyone in person Sunday at Adelaide Oval to take on the mighty Dockers.
100%.
Absolutely. Links to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide. Time to check traffic. We'll be talking Elvis when we come back.
At Glenelg North, reports of a smash on a Delphi terrace. Take some care through there. Torrens Park, urgent civil works, Belair Road near Princess Road, slow going at the moment. And burst water main at Northfield, Grange Junction Road near Hampstead Road, down to 1 lane in both directions. Busy Glen Osmond Road, Young Street to Greenhill Road, with cameras Gorge Road, Cudley Creek, Kersbrook Road at Kersbrook. At Burbank Homes, you choose the offer. Solar savings, free upgrades or cashback bonus. Only 1K deposit gets you started. T's and C's apply, burbank.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
About me, she's like dying.
Explore Australia's biggest arts festival at Adelaide Fringe from the 18th of February to the 20th of March. With over 1,000 shows, act now and get your tickets. Supported by principal partner Bank SA. Search Adelaide Fringe today.
The Isuzu MUX range. Exquisite, exceptional, exhilarating. The 7-seat Isuzu MUX is extraordinary. Search Isuzu MUX.
Good schnitzels are everywhere, but it's hard to find a schnitzel so big, crunchy and tasty, survivors have warned, whatever you do, don't eat the day before. St Kilda Beach Hotel schnitzels are cut by the resident butcher. They're rolled in the crispiest crumbs, then deep fried to perfection, all in-house. Take the kids to St Kilda Playground, then cross the road to the St Kilda Hotel for the schnitzel of a lifetime. There's a table waiting for you at the St Kilda Beach Hotel.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Are you thinking about making the move into retirement living? Stockland Somerton Park Retirement Village offers a friendly community with options to suit every budget. Located close to the beach, residents can enjoy an active lifestyle with everything at their doorstep. With a range of independent and serviced apartments available, now's the time to contact one of our friendly staff for a face-to-face appointment or virtual tour. Search Stockland Somerton Park or call 1800 727170 for more.
Make racing even more exciting with Ladbrokes Same Race Multi. Add up to 4 runners to a Same Race Multi and watch your potential payout increase. Ladbroke it with a Same Race Multi. T's and C's apply. See ladbrokes.com.au for details. Gamble responsibly.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Don't be cruel to a heart that's true.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
I really love you, baby, cross my heart. Let's walk up to the preacher.
11 to 9. If you are listening to this morning, waking up as a fan of the King, Elvis Presley, you need to book in a pilgrimage to Bendigo at some point in time over the course of the next 3 months, because the Elvis Graceland exhibition is appearing in Bendigo. It's the first of its kind in Australia, and it's been overseen by our next guest, Angie Marchese, who has been running this for 30 plus years out of the States. Very exciting that it's coming to Australia. Angie, good morning to you. Welcome to 5AA Breakfast.
Good morning. I'm glad to be with you guys, and let's talk some Elvis.
Absolutely, the King. So, Angie, tell us about the origins of this. So you've actually been running it for 3 decades now.
Yeah, so I've been working at Graceland since, I was 17. It'll be 33 years. I'm now in charge of all of Elvis's stuff. I get to play with Elvis's archives, do all of the exhibits from conception through installation. And it was a few years ago, actually, that the Bendigo Art Gallery approached us about possibly doing an Elvis exhibit. And so we started working on it, and of course then COVID happened. So now's the time. It has come to fruition, and we're so excited that Elvis is here in Victoria.
What are the sort of showstopper pieces, Angie, that travel?
There's lots of pieces that we picked out specifically for this venue that have never left Graceland, including Elvis and Priscilla's wedding attire, his personal wallet, which is one of my favorite artifacts, the white suit from If I Can Dream that everyone recognizes.
Oh, wow.
Also, the cape that he tossed into the audience at the end of the Aloha from Hawaii special is actually here in Australia.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's the Amazing Live album recorded in Hawaii, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's my favourite Elvis record. I love that record.
Now you have to come see the outfit. It's here.
Has all this stuff been donated? Do you seek it out? What's been the process over these 3 or 4 decades of just collating all these materials?
Well, actually, the collection at Archives is the collection of stuff that Elvis left at his home at Graceland when he passed away. So I oversee that collection,
Right.
which is about 1.5 million artifacts. We do acquire things. Of course, they have to be very special because we do have so much stuff. But so we've carefully cataloged and preserved and obviously display the collection that Elvis left at Graceland when he passed, which includes 88 jumpsuits, over 20 vehicles, 90,000 images. I mean, you name it, Elvis saved it.
How often have you travelled it around the world?
We've had the opportunity to do shows in Brazil as well as in the UK, in London. But the unique thing about our exhibits, it's not like Elvis in a box that every exhibit's the same. We actually try to hand-pick pieces to make each exhibit special to that venue or to, the fans there that might have never had a chance to come to Graceland or that might have seen an exhibit somewhere else, that they can see something new here.
How big a deal is Graceland as part of the sort of life and culture of Memphis there in Tennessee, Angie? I imagine, I've never been there. I've been to New Orleans a couple of times and just obsessed with that whole musical tradition right up the Mississippi. But it must be a huge thing for the people of Memphis.
It really is. I mean, Graceland is Memphis tourism. So when Graceland opened up for tourism in 1982, Memphis tourism just skyrocketed. And that was good. This June will be 40 years that we've been open for tourism. We've seen 23 million visitors in those 40 years. But Graceland is huge not only to Memphis, but to the entire Elvis world and to Elvis's legacy, because Graceland represents a place that people can go to learn about Elvis, to explore Elvis, to remember who he was, kind of a pilgrimage type place, which no other artist really has. Plus, you get a chance to see behind the curtain and actually see his home where he lived, raised a family, entertained friends. So it makes it a very unique place to work, and it makes it a very big part not only of Memphis and tourism, but pop culture.
Sounds really exciting. I think it's going to be absolutely fascinating. Great to have it in Australia for 3 months. Angie, lovely to speak to you. Thanks for your time.
Oh, no problem. Hope to see you in Bendigo soon.
Thank you, Angie.
Angie Marchese, who's overseeing the Graceland exhibition here it'll be in Bendigo from Saturday for 3 months. So if you want to book you can do a road trip, make a road trip out of it.
We're out of time, but I'd love to hear, and let's kick it into tomorrow. It'll be something light and fun for a Friday. If any of our listeners have been to Graceland, I'd love to hear from them.
All right.
I would love to hire a car, fly from Dallas to New Orleans, and then just drive north following the Mississippi.
That would be amazing.
Because you can still go and see those juke joints, like these little sort of, timber shacks on the side of the river where there's old black dudes playing like, Lightning Hopkins and Bo Diddley and all of those.
The amazing part of the world to see.
How great is the music there?
Now, Lucy's in the studio. What's happened,
Yes,
Lucy?
I have some good news. So
okay.
Just earlier before, we gave Bob some tickets to go see Hans.
Yes.
Now, good news for Bob is that he's about to have another grandchild.
Oh, congratulations, Bob.
Bad news is Bob now can't go to see Hans tonight.
So hang on, Bob's next grandchild has come along in the last 30 minutes.
Correct.
Well,
about to be. So Bob rang up and
to
he was the first caller through. Then 5 minutes later, his son rang him and said, "Hey, my wife's now gone into labour."
Oh, wow.
So we're off to the hospital. Meet us there. So Bob's rung me back and said, "Well, we actually can't get to Hans." So 4 tickets to see Hans Symphony tonight at Thebby Theatre. Give me a ring, 8223 0055, and you get 4 tickets.
All right, we'll give them away
Go
again
for it.
right now.
We
Thanks,
can't
Bob.
give these tickets away.
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully the next person doesn't have some... Well, I mean, look, it's a happy occasion.
That's
At least
right.
it wasn't some sort of emergency.
I was on my way and I got attacked by a wedge-tailed eagle. Don't you hate it when that happens?
I'd love to go along. I no longer have eyes. It's time to go behind closed doors. Thanks to
plane fell out of my head.
Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
And when we get behind
$13.95. Adelaide's FIVEaa. This is Jade Robran.
And welcome to the show. How was your weekend? I had a cracker and I hope you did too. We're going to be talking today to the Greens candidate for Unley, who's taken the mickey out of herself after someone put graffiti all over her kerflute. That's not the only thing I'll be mispronouncing today, no. I'll also be talking to director Scott Hicks and uncomfortably mentioning the late David Gullipole. So, bit cringy, but lots of other cracking stuff on the show today. Have you watched Show Me the Money yet? It's on Stan and I come up pretty well. So does my husband. And yes, he does talk about Big Brother because he won it. The first one. Remember that? Yep. That's right. I married him. Right, let's talk to Georgie Hart. Georgie is the Greens candidate for Unley. How are you, Georgie? Now, your kerflute got a bit of a colouring in over the weekend, but you've turned it around and done a cracking job of it, and you've become a bit of a social media star. Tell us what happened. I don't know. Thanks for having me. I don't know what's happened. It's kind of a light-hearted joke kind of thing with a serious message about gas. But I don't know. It's a kind of. I appreciate the reaction to the video I made. But yeah, it's I don't know, quite wild. But yeah, no, I don't know.
So they've drawn a moustache on you and big eyebrows and a cigarette hanging out of your mouth. So tell us, how did it all unfold?
Yeah, well, I don't know, I first heard about it. Well, my mum and my mother-in-law, they saw it on TV on Channel 7. It was kind of a Liberal and Labor and Marshall and Malinauskas. They were there and they saw my call flute, and I didn't know where it was, and someone sent me a photo, and I thought it was funny, and my name's Hart, which rhymes with fart, and everybody loves a fart joke in Australia, so I made a video, and, I don't know, it's kind of a joke with a serious message kind of thing. Yeah, so...
Right, so what is that serious message?
Well, the fact that people say that natural gas is natural, but it's not. It's a dangerous fossil fuel, and we have to move away from fossil fuels.
Right.
But I don't know, Unley is a safe Liberal seat, so I've got 2 chances of winning, and that's Buckley's and none. So, yeah, I don't know,
2 minutes to 9. We've got time enough for a headline on this Thursday morning. Let's do it.
Barking mad. Luke Beveridge stars in the sequel to Year of the Dog. If I see any of you blokes down the club getting a pat on the backside, I'll spew up.
Yeah, I think you just about did.
Terry Wallace.
Graham Goodings is coming up. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6.
Any team versus any team is new to Neds. Pick any two